What if the person you loved the most was hiding a terrifying secret? What if every gentle word, every sweet smile was only a mask for a monster? This is Gio's story, a love that seemed perfect until the night he discovered the truth about Miho. In a beautiful city, a man was on a call with his girlfriend discussing where they should meet up, but she was already standing across the street, waving at him with a smile. His girlfriend was stunning with an angelic, innocent look. Happily, she began crossing the street to meet him, but suddenly, a speeding car struck her, throwing her across the road. The man froze in shock, his eyes wide, as he saw his girlfriend lying motionless on the ground. He sprinted toward her, clutching her and shouting desperately for help. Moments later, an ambulance arrived. Paramedics quickly lifted her inside, and as they rushed to the hospital, the man prayed with everything he had for her safety. At the hospital, the doctor came out with surprising news. There was nothing to worry about. But then, the doctor asked, almost confused, "Are you sure she was hit by a car? Normally, such an accident would cause at least fractures, but her scans showed nothing, no broken bones at all." Still, the doctor explained that PTSD was common in traffic accidents, so they would keep her for observation just to be safe. He also advised the man to comfort his girlfriend, since she might still be in shock. A nurse arrived to guide him to her room. As they walked, the man nervously asked if his girlfriend was really okay. The nurse reassured him, saying it was a miracle. She didn't even have a bruise. Relieved yet unsettled, the man couldn't shake the thought of how impossible it was for her to be completely unharmed. Finally, they reached her room. When he opened the door, he saw his girlfriend sitting on the bed, staring quietly out the window. The man called softly, "Miho?" She turned, her face lighting up with a bright smile. "Gio," she said happily, "look, nothing happened. Can you believe it?" Overcome with emotion, Gio rushed to her, hugging her tightly. Tears welled in his eyes as he whispered how glad he was that she was okay. Miho began crying too, and the two embraced warmly. That night, Gio sat by her bedside in a chair, peeling an apple. Miho told him he should head home, or he'd miss the train and be late for class tomorrow. Gio playfully shoved a slice into her mouth, promising he'd leave, but also promising he'd be back to pick her up in the morning. Before he left, Miho smiled sweetly and asked, "By the way, did you see my cell phone anywhere?" Gio shook his head, assuming it had been lost in the accident. Miho said she probably dropped it at the crosswalk, then added she might just buy a new one. It would be faster. She told Gio not to worry and to go home safely. As Gio walked down the hospital hallway, he spotted the paramedic who had helped them earlier, holding Miho's phone. "Sir, you're the paramedic from before, right?" Gio asked. "I am," the man replied. "How's your friend? Is she okay?" "She is, thanks to you. She's recovering without any injuries." "I'm glad to hear that." "Oh, and doesn't this belong to her?" He held out the phone. "We picked it up at the crash site. Please return it to her." They parted ways and Gio stared down at the phone, knowing Miho would want it back immediately. He hurried back to her room, but when he opened the door, the bed was empty. The window was wide open. Through it, Gio spotted Miho outside. Smiling with relief, he rushed to find her. But when he reached the alley, his smile vanished. What he saw froze him in terror. Miho, his girlfriend, was devouring a nurse. Her body twisted, monstrous, not human at all. Gio's eyes widened in disbelief. He couldn't process what he was seeing. Suddenly, Miho shifted back into her human form. She sniffed the air, her senses sharp. "That's odd. I definitely smelled something," she muttered, unaware Gio had been watching. That night, Gio learned a truth he was never meant to know about his girlfriend. Back in his apartment, Gio sat in disbelief. He had seen it with his own eyes, Miho swallowing another human being like a monster. But no matter what he saw, part of him still refused to believe it because she was his girlfriend. Confused and desperate, Gio grabbed his phone and called his friend Sejin for advice. "Hypothetically," Gio asked nervously, "what would you do if your girlfriend was a monster?" Sejin laughed. "If my girlfriend was a monster but I was still attracted to her, I'd keep her around and try to tame her." Gio hung up unsatisfied. What was I expecting? Real advice from him? He lay back on his bed, muttering, "Tame her? That makes no sense. No, I have to end things with her." His mind raced. When did she become a monster, and why has she spared me so far? His eyes fell on Miho's phone. Maybe the answers are inside. Remembering her old password, he unlocked it. Everything seemed normal. Her photos, her messages, her search history, until he opened her notes. The moment he read them, his eyes went wide in horror. He dropped the phone, trembling. What was that?
In the morning at the hospital, Gio couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen on Miho's phone last night. But the phone was broken now, so he couldn't check it again. Suddenly, Miho arrived. She clung to Gio, asking what he was thinking about. "You said you were gonna pick me up, and you did. Miho said sweetly. I couldn't call you because I didn't have a phone. Then she gently touched Gio's face, asking if he had slept at all. Gio just smiled and said he was fine. In his mind, it was different. Yesterday, I would have been happy. Now, every word, every smile, it creeps me out. When did you become a monster? I wish this was a dream. You act normal, but knowing the truth makes it worse. I want to run. Before he could collect himself, Miho grabbed his shirt and sniffed it. What are you doing? Why are you sniffing me? Gio asked nervously. Nothing, Miho replied with a creepy smile. You smelled the same as yesterday. You skipped your shower, didn't you? They both chuckled it off. Then Gio and Miho started heading to school together. On the way, Miho said she had something to give him. She pulled him down gently and kissed his cheek. That's my payment for picking me up from the hospital, she said playfully. Gio forced a smile, then quickly said he needed to use the bathroom and told her to wait. Miho teased, I knew you were holding it in. You've been squirming all morning. Go ahead, I'll be here. Inside the men's restroom, Gio leaned over the toilet, vomiting. The kiss made him sick. His chest tightened, his stomach turned. He forced himself to breathe and calm down. Outside, Miho stood silently, waiting, almost like she was observing him. They continued walking to school. Miho frowned slightly, telling Gio he should see a doctor since he didn't look well. Gio brushed it off with a smile. In his mind, she's acting so normal, so sweet, just like before. But I can't forget. She's a monster, and it terrifies me. Miho then asked if Gio would be staying late at school. If you are, I'll bring you porridge and medicine before I head home, she said warmly. Gio thanked her, forcing another smile. When they reached the school, they prepared to part ways. Before leaving, Miho smiled and said, see you tomorrow, I love you. Gio hesitated, then replied softly, me too. As Miho left, Seijin walked up and immediately noticed Gio's pale, terrified expression. Hey, are you okay? Seijin asked, concerned. But Gio, clearly shaken, rushed off to the bathroom. Seijin muttered, he doesn't look good at all. Is he really okay? Suddenly, Miho appeared behind him. Maybe he just has an upset stomach, she said casually. Seijin, surprised, looked at her. It turned out they had never met before. Do I know you? He asked. I'm Gio's girlfriend, Miho answered with a smile. Seijin chuckled. Ah, so you're Miho. I've heard about you. Gio wouldn't stop bragging about how beautiful you are. Miho kept smiling. So, you and Gio must be close? Yeah, Seijin said. We've known each other for 5 years. He always comes to me for advice. Miho's smile widened in a way that felt unsettling. 5 years? That's a long time. Funny, I didn't know that. Seijin frowned slightly. Strange, Gio never mentioned me to you? That's odd. He always comes to me when he has a problem. Just yesterday, in fact, he asked me what I would do if my girlfriend was a monster. Miho's expression flickered, but she quickly covered it with a lie. Oh, Gio and I had a fight yesterday. That's probably why. Then she leaned in closer. Actually, I was wondering if I could talk to you about it. Seijin hesitated. They had just met, and it felt awkward, but Miho grabbed his hand. Come on, I'll buy you a drink. How about tonight? She said. Seijin paused, then they exchanged numbers. That night, Gio was at school, exhausted. He thought back to how Miho acted all day. Sweet, caring, normal. But deep down, he knew keeping his distance was right. His eyes fell on the porridge Miho had promised to bring. If she's still Miho, maybe I can reach her. Maybe I can stop her. His phone buzzed. A text from Seijin. Paradise 504. Immediately after, another call came. It was Ireling. Gio, I'm sorry to call this late. It's about your girlfriend. I just saw her going into a motel with a guy. I don't know which room, but it was the Paradise Motel. Gio froze. Paradise Motel. Room 504. The same number Seijin texted. Panic surged through him. He ran as fast as he could, heart pounding, thinking, what if Miho does something to Seijin? Until he reached the motel. Room 504. He banged and banged on the door, shouting. No answer. In desperation, he grabbed a fire extinguisher from the hall, smashed the handle, and kicked the door open. His eyes widened. Seijin lay on the bed, blood pooling from his head. And there was Miho, casually standing, drenched in blood. Hey, she said softly. Are you feeling better now? Gio's body froze in shock. Then rage and fear took over. He grabbed the fire extinguisher and swung it at Miho's head.
Then, Gio woke up and found Miho beside him, smiling happily.
She said good morning and reminded him they needed to get ready to check out at 10. Gio smacked her hand away, terrified. He demanded to know what happened to Sejin's body, what happened after he swung the fire extinguisher. Miho only tilted her head and said he was acting strange, that she didn't know what he was talking about. She tried to approach, saying he might have a fever, but Gio shoved her back and bolted, wearing nothing but his underwear. He ran until he reached the highway. His mind raced. Why was he sleeping beside her? Why did she let him live? Was she toying with him before killing him, just like Sejin? He kept running until he heard a voice. Sejin, alive! Sejin rushed over as Gio's ankle snapped and he collapsed. Sejin helped him up, asking why he was running around half naked. Gio clutched his shirt, screaming for answers. Why was he alive? Then Miho appeared, running toward them. She wrapped a blanket over Gio's shoulders, thanking Sejin for stopping him. Sejin stared in confusion, asking what was going on. Gio couldn't answer. None of it made sense. Miho just said they needed to talk. At a coffee shop, Sejin leaned back. So, Gio, you're saying Miho killed me? You must have had a terrible dream. Do I look dead to you? Gio demanded, what about the text you sent me last night? Sejin frowned. What text? I didn't text you. Gio slammed his hand on the table, insisting Sejin was lying. He had texted Paradise 504. He pulled out his phone, scrolling frantically, but the message was gone. Sejin asked calmly, why would I go to a motel with your girlfriend? Gio refused to believe it. He remembered Ir-young's call. He checked his call history. Nothing. He pointed at them, shouting they must have deleted the records, accusing them of being together. Sejin shook his head, saying Gio was making no sense. He reminded him they had dinner last night. He even pulled out a photo of the three of them together, smiling at the table. Sejin said Gio and Miho had been drinking, and he joined later. He told him to stop talking nonsense and see a doctor. Gio stared at the photo in disbelief. He didn't remember it. He only remembered Sejin bleeding out, Miho drenched in blood. None of it matched. Miho held Gio's hand, asking softly if he was okay. Gio's mind spiraled. Am I hallucinating? The memory from last night was so vivid. The photo felt fake. Why had they never taken one together before? And if Miho really was a monster, why didn't she attack him? Why didn't she fight back? Nothing added up. He whispered to himself, am I really seeing things? Miho gripped his hand tighter. If I really killed someone, wouldn't it be in the news? But there's nothing. Don't you know better than anyone else that none of this happened? Then she broke into tears, begging him to see a doctor with her. Gio pushed back his chair, saying he needed the bathroom. His injured ankle gave way and he hit the floor. Miho reached to help, but Gio refused, saying he just needed rest. Inside the bathroom, Gio pulled out his phone and called Ir-young. He asked, you called me last night about Miho going into a motel, right? But Ir-young's answer shattered him. I didn't call you. Gio shouted, no, you did. Check your phone. But Ir-young, speaking softly from another building as she watched them, said, sorry, Gio, there's nothing on my phone. Are you sure you're not mistaken? Gio's breath caught. His hands trembled. He couldn't believe what was happening.
Then Ir-young told Gio to check his phone. He froze, muttered sorry, and quickly hung up. He stepped out of the bathroom pale and shaken, and Miho was waiting. She told him she'd called a cab and they needed to go straight to the hospital. But Gio said he was tired and would rather rest at home. Miho's eyes widened, unsettling, and she insisted he couldn't even stand properly with his sprained ankle, that staying home wouldn't help, and she was taking him whether he liked it or not. Gio, panicking, said Sejin should come too, but Miho calmly told him Sejin had already gone to class. Then she grabbed his hand and pulled him toward the cab. That's when Gio noticed Miho's phone, the same one he remembered breaking on the floor the night before. The sight made his mind spin. Was it all a hallucination? They got into the cab, unaware that Ir-young was still watching from a distance. On the ride, Gio stared blankly out the window, while Miho finally asked if she still looked like a monster to him. Gio didn't react, didn't flinch, just kept staring outside. Miho's smile faltered, her mood sinking, until Gio finally spoke, saying he didn't even know what was real anymore, that he couldn't remember drinking or sleeping beside her, and that everything felt terrifying, like something was broken inside him. Miho squeezed his hand gently and told him not to worry, that he would be fine. At the hospital, the doctor showed them the x-ray, explained the ankle injury, and said Gio's symptoms pointed to early-onset schizophrenia. Hallucinations, he added, could be treated with medication, and he wrote a prescription. Later in the lobby, Miho teased that last time it was her in the hospital, and now it was him, making Gio chuckle despite himself. She suggested they check out the place where he thought he saw her eating people, but Gio shook his head, saying he was sure now it had all been a mistake. There was no way she was a monster. Maybe he was just still shaken from her accident. Miho smiled, but the smile felt wrong. Gio told her not to worry, that he felt better now, almost like waking from a long nap, and Miho laughed about the time he ran outside half naked in a panic. He apologized, and she teased that he could make it up to her later. When they reached Gio's apartment, he thanked her for walking him home, but she waved it off, reminding him he could barely stand, then said she had to head to class, but they'd have dinner later. Before leaving, she asked for a hug. Gio held her close, whispered thanks and I love you, and Miho smiled again, soft on the surface but disturbingly satisfied underneath. Gio went inside relieved, placed the medicine on the table, and froze. There, on the desk, was Miho's broken phone. His chest tightened. He picked it up, horrified. How could the phone be here when he'd just seen her use it to call the cab? Was this another hallucination, or proof that everything he remembered was real, that Miho really was a monster? He stared at the phone, torn between the doctor's words, the photo, and the chilling memories in his mind.
Gio started drinking his medicine, convincing himself he was just tired and that was why he kept seeing things. But then his inner voice whispered, what if you were right all along? What if Miho wasn't the only monster? What if everyone was in on it? What if you were being fooled? Gio muttered to himself about the photo with Seijin, Miho, and him together, asking why, if Miho really was a monster, she hadn't killed him yet. It felt more realistic that he was losing his mind than Miho being some flesh-eating monster. But then the voice cut in again, how can you explain the phone being here? What if your girlfriend really is a monster and she's lying to you? Gio sat on the bed, talking to himself, asking what he was supposed to do, because none of it made sense. If Miho was a monster, how could he possibly understand what happened today? The voice told him he needed to find out. Look at her notes again, maybe they would tell him something. Driven by that thought, Gio stepped out of his apartment, determined to uncover the truth about Miho, about why she hadn't killed him yet, and whether she really was a monster. He thought that if he checked her notes again, he might finally find answers. Sitting in his car, his mind spun. What if he hadn't imagined anything? What if Seijin was a monster too? What if even the doctor was? His inner voice replied, he could be. If Miho is a monster, then everything you saw is true. The fact Seijin died, the fact he stood before you alive, it means either they were in it together all along or Seijin became one too. That would explain why there was no news about his death and why he showed up alive. Gio then wondered about Iryong. Was she also a monster? The voice admitted it wasn't sure. Maybe she really didn't have the call record, but if Gio was schizophrenic, Miho's phone shouldn't exist, and if Miho was a monster, then nothing could explain that group photo. Stop getting distracted, stay calm, the voice warned. Gio realized he was spiraling into panic. He forced himself to calm down. He would figure everything out once the phone was fixed. At the repair shop, the technician said the phone could work again once the LCD was replaced. Gio begged for it to be fixed immediately, but the man explained the model was outdated and he would have to order the part, which would take 3 days. Gio didn't want to wait, so he asked if the data could be extracted, but the repairman shook his head and said only a recovery center could do that. With no other choice, Gio agreed to the order, and the repairman promised to call when it arrived. At least one thing was certain, the phone was real. Stepping out of the building, he saw Iryong standing outside. She asked what he was doing there, and Gio shot back, what about you? Iryong said she was just dropping off a friend, then glanced at his ankle and asked what happened. Gio brushed it off, saying he just fell. Iryong offered to give him a lift and motioned toward her car, telling him to hop in.
Gio asked Iryong if she was sure they were going in the same direction. She replied, you're going home, right? You still live around the school. I can drop you off on the way. Then, almost forcefully, she told him to hop in. As Gio fastened his seatbelt, he thanked her for the ride. He glanced at the back seat and asked about all the stuff piled there. Iryong explained she was helping a friend who ran an online store, and that was how she got the car, all thanks to the store. Gio frowned, noticing the clothes were messy, not even packed properly. He reached back to fix them, but Iryong stopped him, saying not to touch anything, that she had her reasons for leaving them that way. Gio noted to himself that something about her had changed. The way she spoke carried a strange, unsettling edge. Iryong brushed it off, saying maybe it was because they hadn't seen each other in a year back when the three of them, Miho, Gio, and Iryong, used to hang out a lot. Then she changed the subject, asking about the phone call. You asked if I called you last night. What was that about? Gio waved it off, saying he was just confused. Iryong pressed, saying she thought something had happened because he kept calling her over and over. Suddenly, her phone rang. She tried to reach for it, but it slipped and fell. She asked Gio to grab it for her. As he leaned down, he muttered that she could just answer it without touching it. While he was bent over, Young's eyes locked onto his neck, sharp and terrifying, studying him intently. Slowly, she reached toward him as if to grab him, but Gio sat back up, holding the phone, saying, "Looks like they hung up." Young smiled thinly and asked him to check her call history to see if it was the same customer as yesterday. The phone wasn't locked, so Gio scrolled through the log. His eyes widened when he saw the calls from last night. But hadn't Young denied calling him? Confused, he looked at her. She asked, "Did you find it?" Gio hesitated, wondering if she lied or just made a mistake. He said the caller was a different number, hiding his doubt. He was about to ask more, but suddenly the car jerked as Young slammed the brakes. In the rearview mirror, Gio saw a figure covered in cloth staring at him. Their eyes met. Heart pounding, he whipped his head back, but the back seat was empty. Young asked if he was okay and repeated her question about the call history. Terrified, his neck damp with sweat, he stammered it was nothing. He was certain someone had been hiding there. He glanced at Young, their eyes meeting, and flinched, clenching his fists, desperate to get out. Forcing a normal tone, he asked her to drop him off right there. Young frowned. "Here? Why?" "We're almost at your place. I'll drop you off. I've got time." But Gio insisted, saying he remembered something he needed to do. Young locked the doors. "Where?" she asked coldly. "School, hospital, supermarket, subway station, you name it, I'll take you." Gio felt the air tighten around him, creeped out, muttering that he just wanted to take a walk. Young said, "In this weather? Relax, I'll get you home." Moments later, they pulled up at Gio's apartment building. He forced an awkward smile, thanked her for the ride, and told her to drive safe. Young smiled back, warm for a moment, then it slowly faded. She whispered to herself, "I don't see his head. I showed him the call history, but nothing. Maybe he's not a monster." Then, from the back seat, the hidden figure finally revealed itself. Gio rushed back to his apartment, peeking through the window to see if Young had already left. He didn't see her, so he continued walking, but suddenly a car pulled up outside. A woman stepped out, gripping a metal weapon, her eyes locked on Gio's apartment building. As Gio climbed the stairs, his thoughts raced. Who was that person in the back seat? Why was Young hiding him from me? None of this makes sense. Whoever he is, Young is definitely keeping him from me. Gio froze mid-step. But why didn't the man in the back seat do anything? When our eyes met, he just ducked out of sight. If he meant to harm me, he should have attacked right there. Why didn't he? His mind twisted further. And why did Young show me her call history? Why not stick to her lie about not calling me? It's almost like she wanted me to see it, to test how I'd react. Come to think of it, what if that night at the motel, Young followed Miho and Sejin and discovered Miho was a monster? Maybe then she started to suspect me too. What if she's been trying to confirm it all along, hiding that man in the back seat, ready to attack me if I revealed myself as a monster? He shook his head. No, that's just wild speculation. Gio turned toward his door and noticed the lock was broken. Looking around, he saw that every lock in the hallway had been wrecked. A cold unease settled in his chest. What happened here? Then the woman appeared. "Long time no see, Gio. How have you been?" Gio froze, staring at her. Who is this person? Of course you wouldn't recognize my voice. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. So long, I almost forgot to introduce myself. I'm Yirin's mother, the girl you killed. Her voice sharpened with rage. And now, I'll kill you. The woman swung her weapon at him, but Gio dodged and bolted toward his room. He reached it, slammed the door shut, and locked it, only to see a corpse lying inside. His stomach twisted. From the other side, her voice echoed coldly. It's no use. No one's going to help you. I killed all the monsters. Did you really think you'd be safe filling this whole building with them? Gio shouted back. Why are you trying to kill me? I should have killed you back then. You must have 9 lives, especially that girlfriend of yours. I can't believe she survived after I hit her with my car. Gio's eyes widened. So it was you, the hit-and-run driver. She yanked at the door, trying to break through. Gio, do you still remember that day? Why did you kill my Yirin? What did she ever do wrong? Was it because she found out you were a monster? Or did you try to turn her into one and fail? Tell me, Gio, why did you kill her? Gio cried out desperately, You're mistaken.
Why would I kill your daughter? I didn't even know her. With a surge of strength, he shoved the door open and bolted, but the woman was fast. She caught up and swung her weapon again. Gio stumbled, slipped on the stairs, and his head slammed hard against the floor.
Then Gio lost consciousness, and a flashback pulled him into his past at Hanguk High School. Gio was sitting quietly at his desk when a girl tapped his shoulder, trying to be friendly. She kept talking, but Gio didn't respond. Finally, she said, "I heard you don't talk to anyone. I guess it's true." The girl asked Gio's name, but he answered, "Sorry, just leave me alone. I'm trying to study. I'm transferring to another school soon, so I'm not making any new friends." But the girl held his hand and said, "But right now, you're here, so it wouldn't be the worst idea for us to be friends, would it?" She introduced herself. Her name was Yeren, the daughter of the very woman who now wanted Gio dead. Back to the present, Yeren's mom stepped on Gio's hand and he screamed in pain. "Thank goodness," she said. "I thought you were gone." Gio gasped and asked, "Why do you want me dead? What have I done? Who are you?" Yeren's mom sat down in front of him. "You still don't know? I was kind enough to spell it out for you. Maybe you lost count because you've killed so many?" Gio said, "You've got the wrong guy. I'm not the person you're looking for." But Yeren's mom glared at him. "Gio Che, 21 years old. You're dating Miho, who's a monster. You went to Hanguk High School." Gio insisted, "No, you've mistaken me for someone else. I never went to Hanguk High School." She leaned closer, her voice sharp. "How much longer are you going to pretend?" But Gio kept repeating that he never went there. Enraged, Yeren's mom began punching him over and over, shouting that she had been watching him for 3 years since he killed her daughter, demanding that he apologize. She punched the ground and stopped for just a moment. In that second, Gio struck back, punching, kicking, and grabbing a metal weapon. He shouted, "It wasn't me. I've never met your daughter before. I never went to that school. I dropped out in my 2nd year of high school." He swung the weapon, but Yeren's mom caught his arm and clothes, slamming him into the floor. Standing above him, she sneered, "You really don't remember? Don't tell me you've also turned into a monster. Better check your head." She yanked his hair, but Gio begged desperately, "Please, don't kill me. Somebody help me." Suddenly, a fire extinguisher came flying and struck Yeren's mom. She looked up the stairs and froze. A group of terrifying people stood there. One of them had a broken neck. Yeren's mom trembled. "No, I killed all of you already. I broke your necks. I made sure you were dead. So how are you still alive?" The group rushed at her, breaking her body and beating her to death. Yeren's mom screamed for help, but Gio stood frozen, too terrified to move, watching it all happen. When it was over, one of them turned and looked directly at Gio, then ignored him. They grabbed Yeren's mom by the leg and dragged her downstairs. Gio followed the trail of blood until it led to a room. He pushed the door open and saw Yeren's mom, already dead. Then Gio collapsed and lost consciousness again. After a couple of minutes, a crowd gathered outside Gio's apartment building, including Miho. She spotted a paramedic carrying Gio out. Shocked, Miho dropped the food she had just bought and rushed toward him, calling his name and begging him to open his eyes. At a distance, inside a car, Iryong was watching. She turned to the man beside her and said it was now his turn to trail Gio. Iryong still didn't know exactly what had happened in that building, but if her suspicions were correct, they could finally end this endless chase involving Miho once and for all. The man's task was clear: find out whether Gio was a monster or not. Inside the car, Iryong muttered to herself, "Now I know Miho's weakness." While Gio remained unconscious, he dreamed of his past at Hanguk High School. Gio had been a transfer student coming from far away. On his first day, he was instructed to introduce himself, but he only gave a small bow. The teacher told him at least to state his name. That reminded Gio of a conversation with his mother, discussing that they were moving again because his father's military unit had to relocate due to restructuring. Gio had complained. This was his second transfer in a single year, and it was ruining his school life. As a second-year student, he had made no friends since every time he moved, people distanced themselves from him. He thought the last time would be now. His mother sighed. She thought the same, but they had no choice but to move again with his father. If they bought a house and settled, his father would end up living alone far away from them. "Don't you think families should stick together?" she said. "You can always make new friends. Be patient." Gio clenched his fist, forced a smile, and said, "Dad's doing all this to support us. I shouldn't be complaining." Then he went back to his room to study. Because of this, Gio decided to not make friends anymore. Every time he did, he ended up leaving them behind, hearing them talk behind his back. So he resolved to focus only on studying. He told himself he'd make friends in college instead. When classmates tried to approach him, Gio was cold and said, "I'm warning you, don't talk to me." Later at home, his mom finally told him that they weren't moving anymore. His father would stay with his unit until his next promotion,
So don't worry, she said. No more moving around, just focus on school. Gio began sweating, realizing he was screwed now. Back at school, he felt lonely. At least before, during transfers, he'd have someone to eat lunch with for a while. Now he was truly alone, forced to wait another year and a half before college. While he was lost in thought, a ball rolled to him. He picked it up and tried to be friendly, asking the other kids if he could join. They refused. Rejected, Gio returned to his lonely routine. He buried himself in studying, but the isolation crushed him. He began crying quietly until a girl noticed. "Are you crying?" she asked. Gio jumped, embarrassed. It turned out to be Yaren. She said, "Anyway, you also requested a study hall hour, huh? I'm glad. I thought I was the only one. You're Gio, right? I know you're moving and all, but you could at least respond when I'm talking." Gio remembered her. "And you're Yaren, right?" She handed him a piece of chocolate and said, "Whenever I feel stressed while studying, I crave something sweet." Gio accepted it and whispered, "Thank you." Yaren said, "You can thank me by helping me study until you transfer to another school. I heard you're really smart." Gio blinked. "What? Who told you that?" "Everyone says you're always studying, even during recess and lunch. You even memorize flashcards during PE. They say you're hardcore." But what Yaren didn't know was that Gio wasn't really smart. He was just pretending to study because he had no friends. Studying filled the void. Yaren admitted she had tried asking other classmates to study with her, but no one agreed. Maybe they all go to private tutors. "So this chocolate is my way of bribing you. I might bother you with study questions, so we can be friends at least until you move again." Gio hesitated. "Actually, I'm not moving." Yaren's eyes widened. "What? Don't tell me you lied. I just blurted out all that nonsense because I thought you were moving soon. So why did you lie? Was it because you wanted me to stop talking to you?" Gio desperate. "No, you can keep talking to me. If you have a question, don't hesitate. We can be friends." Yaren smiled brightly. "Good, definitely." In his unconscious state, Gio whispered to himself, "Yaren. She was my only friend during those depressing school days. But why didn't I remember her until now? Yaren and I studied together. Later, she realized I wasn't as smart as she thought, but we still hung out. We even went to the movies together. But there was something else. What was it? Oh yes, Yaren. I killed her."
Then Gio found himself standing, his hands soaked in blood. He collapsed to the ground in shock, sitting there and muttering that he didn't mean to kill her. When he turned his head, he saw someone witnessing the murder, Miho. Gio snapped back to consciousness at the hospital. He slowly lifted his head and saw Miho sleeping beside him. Back at Gio's apartment building, police were investigating a multiple homicide that had occurred near Hanguk University. The killing spree had taken place around 8 p.m. the night before, resulting in 14 deaths, with one person still in critical condition. The shocking part was that the suspect was Unsheikh Tim, a former national judo athlete who had once competed internationally for the country. The detective switched off the television. She told Gio that he was lucky to have made it out alive. She explained what had happened. The police had been responding to a noise complaint, and when they arrived, they found the attacker and apprehended her just before she could strike Gio. They were still investigating the motive and how she had become involved in such an incident. The detective began to ask Gio a few questions, but before she could continue, Gio cut in. "What did you say? You apprehended the attacker? You mean she's alive? How? Didn't she get killed?" The detective replied yes, she was alive. Then she asked Gio if he remembered how it all started. Gio answered, "I was going home when she appeared out of nowhere. Suddenly she threw a pry bar at me, so I started running, tumbling down the stairs. Just before it hit me, a bunch of people showed up." He stopped mid-sentence. The investigator leaned in. "Are you saying there were people who helped you?" Gio said, "No, I'm sure they were dead, but they came out of nowhere. They killed her and dragged her into a room." The detective dismissed Gio's account as an unreliable statement, but Gio insisted, desperate, swearing he saw it with his own eyes. The detective calmly said, "All right, you've been through a traumatic experience. As far as we know, you're the only survivor and the killer is in custody." Gio's eyes widened in disbelief. "Really? You really have her?" Just then, the detective's subordinate entered the room carrying food. He said he had brought porridge. The detective asked if Gio had eaten yet and suggested he join them since hospital food could be awful. The subordinate explained that he got it downstairs, where they were known for their shrimp porridge. But Gio said, "Sorry, I'm actually allergic to shrimp." The detective apologized, saying she should have asked first, and then told Gio to rest. They would return later. After they left the room, the subordinate whispered, "If we want to cover this up, shouldn't we do something about him?" But the detective replied, "Leave him alone. He doesn't remember anything. Looks like he hurt his head pretty bad." A couple of minutes later, Miho entered the room, calling Gio's name. "Are the cops done questioning you? You must be hungry."
The news says it was just a random freak incident. I'm glad they caught her. She tried to feed Gio, but he stayed silent, not responding at all. Miho asked gently, "Do you want to stay at my place? Your apartment is still being investigated as a crime scene, and I don't want you living alone." Finally, Gio spoke. "You know, Miho, I'd like to be alone. I need some rest. I'm sorry." Miho paused, then nodded. "You're right. Time will take care of this." After a couple of days, Gio was discharged from the hospital. On his way home, he reached his mother's house. As he was about to open the door, it swung open, and his mom appeared. "Gio, I didn't know you were coming. What is this? What happened to your leg? Did you fall?" She looked closer at his face. Gio was crying. He hugged her tightly, and his mother asked softly, "What is it, Gio? Tell me what happened."
After that, Gio entered the house. His mother was at the sink, washing an apple. She smiled as she peeled it and said she had bought them a few days ago, reminding him he didn't eat much fruit anymore and should eat more fruits and vegetables instead of takeout. Gio muttered that he did eat plenty. His mom narrowed her eyes and asked what was going on and how he had hurt his leg. Gio was about to tell the truth, but stopped. Forcing a fake smile, he said he had fallen down the stairs. His mother scolded him, saying he was always so distracted. That was how he got hit in the head with a flower pot before, and now here he was with a broken leg. Gio apologized quietly and promised to be more careful. His mother sighed, then told him to stay for dinner, saying he needed nutritious food if he wanted to recover, and that she would grab some groceries. When she left, Gio wanted to tell her everything, that his girlfriend Miho was a monster, that he had seen her eating human flesh at the hospital, that he had almost been killed but was rescued by another monster. But he knew saying it out loud would go nowhere. He couldn't even believe it himself. His thoughts spiraled. Who is Miho, really? Is she a monster? Did those killings at the hospital really happen, or were they hallucinations? What about the detective? Did that conversation really happen? Both memories felt so vivid it was impossible to tell. He told himself he needed to calm down and think, maybe focus on his school years to make sense of it all. A flashback. Gio's room in September, just before he was supposed to transfer to Hanguk High School. His mother told him they might be moving again. Gio got angry and stormed outside to cool off, looking up at the sky and wondering if he would ever make real friends when he got to college. His memory suddenly cut off, and when he opened his eyes, he was staring at a hospital ceiling. His mother later explained he had been hit by a falling flower pot and was in a coma for 6 months. He missed an entire school year, made no friends, and lost all attachment to school life. He decided against transferring to Hanguk High and instead dropped out, studying for college by himself. One day, his mother mentioned meeting a woman downstairs. That woman's daughter had also quit high school and was preparing for college exams. She was Gio's age. His mom thought it would be nice for them to study together. Gio refused, saying he was fine being alone, but his mother insisted that he at least meet her before deciding, adding that she ranked 10th highest in the whole country on the recent test. Gio didn't care until his mom opened the door. Standing there was the girl she had mentioned, Miho. She smiled and introduced herself, saying she looked forward to studying with him. That was the first time Gio remembered meeting Miho. At first, everything was awkward, but Miho's friendliness wore him down. Slowly, Gio found himself glancing at her, wondering. She was smart, kind, so why had she dropped out of high school? What was her story? When he asked, Miho scratched her cheek and asked what he meant. Gio pressed her for an answer. She finally said she had stopped feeling like she belonged, that every kid did the same thing every day like machines, that they didn't feel human to her, and that it all felt pointless, so she left. Gio asked if she regretted it. Miho firmly said no. She hadn't had close friends, she hadn't fit in, and besides, if she hadn't dropped out of high school, she wouldn't have met him. She said she was having more fun now than she ever did in school, and didn't regret a thing. Time passed. Autumn came. They finished their last practice test together and scored well. Maybe they could even enroll in Hanguk University together. One day, Gio blurted out asking if he could hold her hand. Miho teased him, asking if that was his way of asking her out. Gio scratched his head in embarrassment, saying she always said formal confessions made her cringe. Miho admitted that was true, but added that what he just said also sounded cringy.
Gio muttered for her to forget it, complaining she always teased him. Miho asked playfully if he didn't want to hear her answer. Gio thought he was already rejected, but Miho told him he was overthinking and jumping to conclusions, promising she would give her answer when the college results came out. They started holding hands anyway, and soon they started dating. When results day came, they sat side by side waiting. Their phones buzzed. They read the notifications together, then smiled. They had both been accepted into the same university. That was what Gio remembered of his school days. But then his thoughts darkened. Wait, when did I go to Hanguk High School? I clearly remember being there. I remember Yeren dying in a freak accident with Miho witnessing it. But if my first time meeting Miho was at home after high school, why had she acted like it was her first time seeing me? Something was wrong. The memories didn't add up. He told himself to calm down. Maybe he would remember more later. Just then, his mom and dad arrived. His father smiled and said it had been a while and asked what happened to his leg. Then he turned to his mom and asked what was for dinner. She answered salt-steamed king shrimp. Gio froze. Shrimp? His mom knew he was allergic. He carefully reminded her that he couldn't eat it. His mom paused for a moment, then laughed awkwardly, saying he was right and asking what she had been thinking, before adding, yes, of course, he was allergic.
Then Gio's father smiled at him and asked if he wanted to take a walk together. While they were away, Gio left his phone on the table, buzzing from Miho's calls. At the same time, Young arrived and asked Miho if she was joining today. Miho looked confused and asked what she meant. Young explained that one of the upperclassmen had invited them to drink with him and his friends, and they would be arriving in 10 minutes. Miho said she would pass, but Young pressed her, teasing and nudging her with her socked foot, asking if she was in a foul mood and what was going on. Miho told her the story, but Young pretended not to know anything, acting dumb and asking if Gio was okay and whether he got hurt. Miho said she should be the one taking care of him, but Young argued that it might be better to give him some time alone. Miho insisted she should be with him, especially now, but Young said that in her opinion, Gio might need a mental break just as much as physical rest. Miho thought about it and eventually agreed, saying that knowing Gio, it was probably best to leave him alone for now. Young once again asked her to come for drinks, and Miho finally agreed, asking when they would be arriving since it was getting late. Young pretended to make a call but faked running out of battery, then asked Miho to use her phone instead. When Miho handed it to her, Young stepped outside to check. And just as she suspected, Miho had switched her phone to the same model. That explained why they couldn't track her since the accident. Young passed the phone to her underling and told them to install a tracking app. While she was scheming, the upperclassman arrived, calling her name. He asked what she was doing outside, and she casually replied she was waiting for him. The upperclassman opened the door and greeted Miho, saying hello. Young returned the phone to Miho, thanked her, and asked if they were leaving now. But Miho suddenly stood up and said she didn't think she could join them today. Young was surprised, reminding her that she had already agreed, but Miho apologized, saying maybe next time. She explained she had just remembered something important to take care of. The upperclassman then asked Young if she wanted grilled beef, but she quickly claimed she had an assignment to, and suggested another time. She rushed downstairs, suspecting Miho was heading to Gio. Yu-Haek was already monitoring him, and Young thought she had done a good job convincing Miho, but Miho was too stubborn. She ordered her underlings to track Miho's location. Driving through the night, Young muttered to herself, questioning why Miho cared so much about Gio, asking if he was really that important. Important enough to pass up everything, even when he was practically being served to her on a silver platter, and wondering what the hell Gio really was to her. Meanwhile, as Gio and his father walked, his father asked how school was. Gio replied that it was the same as always. Then suddenly, his father said the doctor had told them his mom was in the early stage of Alzheimer's. They hadn't told him because they didn't want to distract him from his studies. She had been forgetful lately, so he warned Gio not to make a big deal if she forgot things like his allergy. Gio was shocked and said they should have told him, but his father shook his head, telling him just to focus on his studies and take care of himself, not to keep getting hurt. He said when the flower pot hit his head, he thought he had lost him, and now he was tumbling down the stairs again. Gio assured him that he would be careful, then asked when exactly he had lost consciousness back then. His father said it was in September, that Gio had been hit in the head and woke up in March. He pressed him, asking if he was sure and when he had transferred to Hanguk High. His father looked confused and told him he had never gone there, asking where this was coming from. He explained that Gio had been at a different school, and after the accident, he dropped out. His father grabbed his hand and insisted that tomorrow he would bring him to see a doctor. He reminded him that the last time he had been in a coma for 6 months, and who knows what kind of trauma he might still have, adding that Alzheimer's could be genetic. Gio told him to calm down,
trying to push him off, but his father shouted that he couldn't calm down. Not when his wife's dementia was getting worse and his only son was getting hurt again, not even remembering his own school. He said dementia could be inherited, and head trauma only made the risk higher. Gio tried to assure him, saying he just slipped and fell, that he didn't have dementia, maybe he forgot the school name because they moved so much, and begged him to calm down. His father sighed and told him they should head back since his mother must be waiting. On the way home, he reminded Gio again to see a doctor, and Gio agreed. Later in his room, Gio started questioning himself, wondering if he had imagined his high school memories, if they were just trauma from the accidents or maybe even dementia. He asked himself if something was really wrong with his brain, but then pushed back, telling himself the memories felt too vivid to dismiss his hallucinations. He just needed solid evidence. Miho's phone. He remembered that at the cafe, Miho had the phone. She might have replaced it with the same model, but why stick with the old one when she could have bought a new one? If he could recover her notes, he could confirm everything once and for all. Looking at a photo of him and Miho together, Gio whispered to himself, asking if he was losing his mind. Meanwhile, in the city at night, a random man was complaining that it was impossible to pick up girls, saying half the planet are women, but no one wanted him, regretting not bringing Minchelle instead of the pretty boys he hated, whining that he just wanted to get laid. Then he spotted a hot woman and muttered in jealousy, only to realize she was with Minchelle. He couldn't believe Minchelle had such a hot girl when he had nothing. He rushed over, calling Minchelle's name, pretending it was a surprise meeting, and asked who he was with. Trying to be friendly, he suggested they all hang out together. Minchelle leaned in and whispered urgently, asking if he was out of his mind and telling him to get the hell out of there. Miho laughed. She smiled and said he was adorable, told him they could all hang out, and even said they had a room already and he could come too if he brought food and drinks. She handed him her number. The random man was thrilled. He ran off to buy alcohol, jumping with excitement, thinking Minchelle must be boring, and that was why Miho had invited him, a complete stranger, thinking maybe he had a chance tonight. When he arrived and knocked, Miho opened the door and said he was fast. He replied, "I ran like hell and didn't want to keep you waiting," then asked where Minchelle was. Miho told him he just stepped out to buy something and let him inside. She sat on the bed and told him the bed was huge and comfy, asking him to sit since he must be tired. Nervously, he sat, and when she asked him his name, he replied Guangnam. Miho leaned closer, and he stammered, asking what she was doing. She whispered that she liked him and suggested they get started before Minchelle came back, telling him to close his eyes. Excitedly, he closed his eyes, leaning in for a kiss, but suddenly, Miho's head transformed into a monster and devoured his head in one bite. Blood splattered everywhere. At the same time, Gio was calling Miho's phone. She answered, her mouth still soaked in blood.
Mio asked Gio if he was feeling better, and Gio replied that he was. Then Gio said he wanted to ask her something. "What is it?" Mio asked. Gio hesitated, then said, "Before, when the attacker screamed at me, she kept yelling that I killed her daughter because she found out I was a monster." Mio frowned. "Hey, what are you saying?" Gio continued, "I asked you to leave me alone because I was terrified of you. I thought you might be a flesh-eating monster. I've been scared because I thought you were behind everything that's happened to me so far." Mio replied, "Do you really think I'm a monster?" "No," Gio said quickly. "I don't want to think that. And why would I kill someone's daughter? I don't even remember her. Besides, there's no way you're a monster. Seijin is alive. I even saw the photo. And the attacker. I thought she died, but the news said she was arrested. Monster? That makes no sense." Gio knew in his head that's how things were supposed to be. Then Mio asked softly, "Do you know why you're so confused? Please don't make this harder for me." "Gio, have you been taking your medication?" Gio said, "I wish there was something wrong with me, but everything's just too confusing." "That's nonsense," Mio snapped. "You said it yourself. So what exactly are you confused about? Do you even have conclusive proof that you're not just imagining everything?" "I do," Gio said firmly. "I have physical proof." Mio's eyes widened. "You do? You actually have physical proof?" "Yes," Gio answered. "I can't confirm exactly what it is yet, but I have something. That's why I wanted to ask you. I need you to be honest with me." "About what? Do you want to ask me if I'm a monster? And what's that going to do? Help you cure your hallucinations?" "Gio, you're so confused by ridiculous things. Even if I answered, would you even trust me? If you're not asking whether I'm a monster, then what are you asking? And what is this so-called physical proof you keep mentioning? Why do you keep repeating this nonsense?" Mio's voice hardened. "I don't mean to be harsh, but you're acting irrational. You say you have proof that I'm a monster, but what if that proof is just another hallucination? Maybe it's one of your schizophrenic episodes.
Why do you keep doing this? You're driving me nuts. Please, hear me out, Gio said. I do think I have an issue. I wish that was all it is. And maybe you're right. Maybe I imagine this physical proof. But Mio, I don't think of you as a monster. I'm just confused, frustrated, and I want a straight answer. That's all. I didn't mean to hurt you. Mio's reply, Sorry, I yelled because I was frustrated too. She sighed. So tell me, what did you want to ask? And what is this so-called physical evidence you keep talking about? Gio took a breath. Recently, I remembered something. It involves you. It's so vivid that I can't just dismiss it as a hallucination. Mio, did we ever go to Hanguk High together? Mio froze. Hanguk High? So you remembered? Gio's eyes widened in shock. Have you recovered all your memories? Well, obviously not everything. If you had, you wouldn't be asking me this. Gio pressed on. So we did go to Hanguk High together? But I thought you went to a foreign language high school. Why did you lie to me? Why didn't you tell me we were at Hanguk High together? Am I making this up? Did I really kill Yerin? If all that is true, what about Seijin? How do you explain what happened at my apartment? And one more thing, Mio. Are you really a monster? Mio's lips curled into a devilish smile. Her eyes gleamed with joy. There are so many things we need to talk about, but let's do that another time. We'll talk tomorrow. I'll come see you then. Then she hung up the phone. Mio turned toward the unconscious Guangnam, her expression bright with twisted happiness. Finally, she could put an end to the puppet show she had been playing. Gio hadn't regained all of his memories yet, but that was fine. For Mio, it was only a matter of time. Once he remembered everything, they could return to that happy time together. Just then, the doorbell rang. Someone outside, wearing a helmet, said it was a delivery. Mio assumed it was food. She covered Guangnam with a blanket before she opened the door to receive the food. As she was about to close it, the delivery man stopped her. It hasn't been paid yet, he said. Oh, right, I'll get the payment. But when she turned around, the delivery man suddenly drew a taser and pressed it to her neck. Electricity surged through her body, and Mio collapsed, unconscious, with the taser still stuck to her skin. A woman stepped inside. Perfect timing, she said. She walked over to the bed and pulled the blanket off. Guangnam's head was soaked in blood. Suddenly, his eyes twitched and he weakly looked at the woman. Mom? He whispered. The woman removed her hat and smiled. Yes, darling, nice to meet you. I'm your mother. It was Idiong. Mio, pinned to the floor and half-conscious, forced her eyes open and her pupils dilated in shock when she realized it was Idiong.
Iryong said, finally, we nailed it this time. Let's get out of here. Then she looked at Guangnam and told him to keep his mouth shut and follow her. As Iryong passed by, Miho closed her eyes, pretending to be unconscious. But once Iryong had left, Miho's eyes slowly opened. She stood up and muttered that Iryong should have checked more carefully. Miho walked to the bathroom and pushed the door open. Inside, another one was waiting, Minchol, lying in the bathtub with wide eyes staring at her. He whispered, Mom? Miho asked what his flush's name was. Minchol answered weakly, Minchol Kim. She asked if he remembered how old it was. He replied, 21. Miho's terrifying eyes narrowed, and she said, so you remember. You're settling in nicely. She asked if he had lost any memories while settling, and Minchol admitted that when he was 13, he couldn't remember anything. Good, Miho said. Then act normal. She pulled out a photo and held it up, telling him to follow the memory of his flesh. Act normal until she called for him, and if the person in that photo ever asked for help or screamed for his life, he must do everything to save him, and if he ran, he must tell her where he was. One last thing, she added, don't call me Mom, it creeps me out. It turned out that everyone Miho attacked had their memories cut off. The first person they saw afterward, they called Mom, and from then on, they followed commands like puppets, obedient, like zombies. Back to Gio. Gio couldn't believe it. He really went to Hongokai with Miho. That meant everything he thought he imagined was in fact real. What happened at the hospital with Seijin and at the apartment, it was all real, which left him with a painful truth. He really had killed Yerin. He was a murderer. He sank into a dilemma, wondering if he should just wait for his memories to come back on their own or go meet Miho. But what if Miho came to his house? What if he ended up like those people in the hospital or like Seijin? He remembered the happy, kind memories he had of Miho and told himself if Miho really wanted to hurt him, she would have done it a long time ago. For the past 2 years, she had not harmed him at all. In fact, she had only shown care. Still, why did she lie all the time? And why was she suddenly telling him pieces of the truth now? What did Miho really want? Who was she? The next morning, Gio made up his mind. He would meet Miho.
He knew she would eventually visit his house. After all, she knew where he lived. And he could feel it in his gut that Miho wanted something from his forgotten memories. He didn't know what it was yet, but he was certain of one thing: Miho would not hurt him. Still, to be safe, he carried a weapon with him. Then Miho appeared, calling his name brightly. She approached him with a smile and asked if he had been waiting long, apologizing for being late because she had to run errands until morning. She studied his face and asked how he was feeling. Gio replied that he was good. Miho gently grabbed his hand and told him to come eat first, then they could talk about last night's call. But Gio pulled back slightly and told him no, they needed to talk first. Miho paused, then smiled creepily and agreed, saying he was right, but they should find somewhere quiet.
Inside a small room where they could read, eat, and talk, Miho asked, "Are you going to read anything?" But Gio said, "I thought we were here to talk." "We will talk," Miho replied. "Then why are we in a comic book store?" Miho leaned back while eating. "Where else did you want to do this? At a crowded cafe? Or maybe while taking a walk? Or would you prefer a motel?" She smirked. "It's lunch hour anyway. At least we should eat something first. This is going to take a while and I'd rather sit down. Besides, with your bad ankle, do you really want to wander around? And we're about to discuss something unusual. I don't want people overhearing. Here, we can eat and talk about all the weird things we want, and people will just assume we're talking about comic books. And honestly," she paused, eyeing Gio carefully, "I figured you wouldn't want to be alone with me." Gio said, "What do you mean by that?" "You know," Miho said while she approached Gio, "would you really want to be alone with someone who might be a monster? Imagine if I'd taken you to a dark, dingy alley. How would you feel?" "See? You're cringing already. We wouldn't be having a serious conversation." Just then, a worker from the comic store walked over and said, "No public displays of affection allowed." Miho casually waved her hand, brushing the worker off. Gio leaned backward. "Did you just say someone might be a monster? Does this mean—" Before he could finish, Miho cut in. "Yes, I am. I am a monster." She looked at him steadily. "Yes, I know I suggested we talk in person, but honestly, I didn't expect you to show up. Why would you meet with a monster when we could have just talked on the phone? I was prepared to visit you myself, but I can see now there was no need to worry." Gio's voice hardened. "Then why did you lie to me? About being a monster?" Miho tilted her head, then smiled playfully. "Let's see. Imagine me saying, 'Hi, you don't remember me, but we used to be really close. Oh, and by the way, I'm a monster. You've lost your memory, but don't worry. I'll help you get it all back.'" She dropped a smile. "Boy, that sounds convincing, doesn't it?" Her tone grew sharper. "Even if I'd gotten you to believe me, even if I promised to help you, I thought you might run away. And honestly, that would have been completely normal. That's exactly what happened back in high school. God, Gio, you gave me such a headache." Gio swallowed. "So you're saying you were afraid I'd run away? That's why you didn't tell me?" But then, who killed the nurse at the hospital? Who threatened the Sejin? And those people at my apartment? "That was all me," Miho admitted calmly. "I cleaned up the mess." "Then why are you coming forward now? You've been hiding it all this time. Why tell me now?" Miho closed the book. "Tell me, Gio, how much do you remember? Do you remember me killing several people at once? Or do you remember killing Yaren and me cleaning up after you? Do you remember how you also turned into a monster? I know you have a lot of questions like what my motives are and why I'm sharing all this now after keeping it hidden, but before I explain anything, I just need to know how much you remember about high school. So tell me, Gio, how much do you remember about high school?" Gio's voice cracked. "What do you mean I'm a monster?" Mino sighed. "Gosh, Gio, I already told you I'm a monster, and I explained why I lied. I admitted to everything I did to those people. Don't act like I'm lying now. I promised I'd tell you everything, but first I need to know how much you remember about high school." She watched him carefully. Gio's begun sweating. "All I remember is Yaren. She was really nice to me when I first transferred to Hongakai. Then I remember seeing her die, and you were there witnessing it." Miho stared at him. "What? That's it? That's the only thing you remember about me?" Gio's voice hardened. "Now it's your turn. Why did you lie to me?" Miho groaned, covering her face with her hands. "I already told you I was afraid you'd run away. Then is there a reason I shouldn't run away? What do you want from me? Why are you doing this to me?" "Because you asked me to. You asked me to turn everyone into a monster, so I did. But things got out of control. I had to fix all the messes and protect you at the same time. I'm doing this for you." Her stare burned into him. "If you hadn't lost your memories, things wouldn't have been so difficult." Gio's breath caught. I asked you to do this? Don't you remember? You almost died at your apartment.
Do you really think that was the only time your life was in danger? What about high school? You never actually went to Hongokai. You were in a coma after the flower pot incident. So how is it that you remember going there? The story about the flower pot was a lie. You lost your memory because you almost died, came up with the flower pot story. Gio's eyes widened. I lost my memory because I almost died? You created the incident at my apartment? If you did all this, then what about my parents? How did you keep it from them? Gio, Miho tone softened. I want you to recover your memories more than anyone. That way I can finally put an end to this role-playing with this shell of you. I'll tell you everything about what happened before we met and how you almost died. Just promise you'll hear me out. Don't run away. A storm of thoughts ran through Gio's mind. I almost died. Role-playing? What is she talking about? What about me being a monster? You'll tell me everything? Yes, Miho whispered, though I can't promise you'll believe me, but I hope my story will help you recover your memories. With a scared face, Gio said, I promise, so tell me. Pulling back the curtain, then please remember your promise.
A flashback, Gio was standing in the hallway looking at his phone. Yurin's friends noticed him and quickly went to Yurin, saying her maid was waiting outside. Yurin glanced over. Oh my gosh, you're right. What's that? Is he holding chocolate milk? Her friends giggled. Gio's so in love with you? One of them asked, how did this even happen? We thought Gio was supposed to be a jerk. Yurin sighed. I was nice to him once, and now he's being all clingy. I wish he'd find another friend. Her friends whispered among themselves. Gio has no other friends. He's a loner. But still, he looks good. Why does he not have any friends? Another said, I heard he acted like a total ass on the first day. That's why. And another one frowned. A clingy bad boy with good looks? That's a new chic. Yurin said, that's ridiculous. Anyway, I'm going outside to entertain him for a bit. She stepped out and the atmosphere shifted. What took you so long? Gio asked. You're the one who told me to come. Sorry, Yurin replied. Gio handed her the chocolate milk she'd asked for. Thanks, she said. I'll get going now, Gio told her, but Yurin stopped him. Stay for a while. The morning assembly's about to begin, Gio said. Do you have something to say to me? Yurin glanced at her friends, worried she might look embarrassed. Do you want to study together after school? At a cafe? Inside the classroom, Yurin's two friends were already talking behind her back. She looks desperate, one mocked, then imitating Yurin's earlier words in a mocking tone. I was nice to him just once, and now he's being all clingy. They laughed. She's only doing that because she's jealous of you. Mi-jung, the girl in the black jacket, she copies everything you do. Mi-jung smirked. All Yurin knows is how to copy. She's jealous of me, sure, but give her some credit. At least she puts on a good show. Still, it's getting annoying. I'm sick of playing along. The two of them leaned in closer, whispering, plotting to embarrass Yurin even more. When Yurin came back into the classroom, one of her friends rushed over. Yurin, Mi-jung wants Gio for herself. Mi-jung looked straight at Yurin. Are you into Gio? Yurin hesitated. I'm not sure. Why not? He's cute, Mi-jung teased. Yurin frowned. He's not that cute. Mi-jung said, then help me ask him out. I like him. Yurin was shocked. What? I thought you had a boyfriend. I'm dumping him, Mi-jung said flatly. I'm more into Gio now, and you don't even like him. The other friend interjected. But how can you ask him out? He only has eyes for Yurin. Yurin muttered. She's right. He's only nice to me. I could talk to him, but I don't know if he's interested in you. Mi-jung scoffed. That's bullshit. If he can like you, why can't he like me? She brushed past Yurin, then smirked. Relax, I'm kidding. Her friends laughed. There she goes again. You know how she is. She's jealous of you because you're close with Gio. She and her boyfriend even fought because he found out she was flirting with Gio. Yurin smirked. I always knew she was jealous of me, but this time she crossed the line. One friend whispered, it's getting annoying. Mi-jung always talks down on us. What if we just cut her off completely? But before we do that, let's make a plan. She leaned in closer, whispering to Yurin, deceiving her without her knowing. Meanwhile, on the other side, Gio was starting to get annoyed. Yurin was making him her errand boy. But for Gio, it was still better than sitting alone in the classroom. Besides, she paid him good money. Still, he wished he had another friend. The teacher finally arrived. Class, we have a new transfer student today. It was Miho. The teacher smiled. Please introduce yourself. But Miho didn't respond. Instead, she spotted an empty seat next to Gio and walked straight toward it. She stared at him intensely. Gio tried to introduce himself, but she ignored him completely, sat down, and tried to sleep. Gio thought to himself, what's wrong with her?
I know I'm lonely, but am I really that desperate to be friends with her? I'd rather be alone. Still, Gio thought maybe he should try talking to her again, because maybe Miho's going through something like he did in the past. He tried to approach her and ask for her name, but Miho just looked at him with her eyes wide open. Gio wondered if she even heard him. He introduced himself again and asked for her name, but Miho didn't respond at all. For a moment, he thought maybe she had a hearing problem, but no, the teacher would have mentioned it earlier. So why was she just staring at him like that? That's rude. Then another teacher came in, and Miho finally raised her head. Gio thought to himself, what the hell? Forget it. I wouldn't want to be friends with her either. She's so rude. But then he remembered how he acted like a jerk on the first day, ignoring the other kids when they tried talking to him, like they didn't even exist. That was probably the same reason why his classmates didn't want him around either. Later, at a cafe, Gio and Yeren were supposed to study together, but Yeren was just playing on her phone. Gio asked, aren't you going to study? You said that 30 minutes ago. Instead, Yeren shoved her phone toward him, saying, look at this, it's hilarious. Gio didn't respond. Didn't you hear me? Yeren asked. But Gio said flatly, can't you see I'm studying? Yeren rolled her eyes and said, you talk like you're smart, but I know you're mediocre just like me. Then let's talk about something else, like your ideal type or a crush. Ideal type? Gio frowned. I don't even know. Why are you asking? Yeren smiled knowingly, remembering the conversation she'd had earlier in the bathroom with her friends. Her friend had said Mijung deserved payback for always looking down on them. She reminded Yeren about the time she copied Mijung's hairstyle, how Mijung got mad because Yeren wore it better. Then the friend asked if Yeren knew why Mijung was flirting with Gio. Because she likes him, Yeren had said. But her friend continued, that's not the only reason. Sure, she likes Gio, but it's more about you. Not many people know this, but Mijung only got her boyfriend because she stole him from someone else. She always goes after the guys her friends are interested in, especially if she thinks they're better than her. She pretends she's above everyone. She's jealous of you. Of course she'll try to steal Gio too. She's done it plenty of times. Yeren had scoffed. She's pathetic. I thought she just liked cute guys like Gio. Her friend grabbed her arm and said, then why don't you make the first move? Go out with Gio. That way we can turn the tables on Mijung, expose her as a boyfriend snatcher, and ruin her reputation. Just imagine, when she thinks she has Gio, she'll ask him out, but he'll reject her because he's with you. We'll live stream the rejection. It'll be fun. Don't you think? Yeren hesitated. That'll only work if Gio's even remotely interested in me. But her friend boosted her confidence. Of course he is. You're gorgeous. That's why Mijung's so jealous. Give yourself some credit. And if it doesn't work, we can just pretend nothing happened and start hanging out with Mijung again. The friend grinned. Don't worry, I'll help. I'll spread rumors about her. Gather people on our side. You just focus on getting close to Gio. Back to the present, Gio asked Yeren, why are you asking about my dream girl? Because it's fun to talk about dating stories. Aren't you curious? Yeren teased. I wouldn't know, Gio muttered. When you fall for someone, it just happens. What kind of answer do you even expect? Well, Yeren said, let me give you an example. Do you prefer girls with bangs or glasses? And what about personality? Do you like someone who tries hard even though she's not particularly talented? She leaned in and said, as for me, I like a level-headed guy. Someone who acts grumpy when I whine but still hangs out with me. Someone who doesn't get mad when I drink his coffee, like this. She smirked. So I told you mine, now you tell me yours. Gio suddenly realized she was describing him. Was this her way of saying she had a crush on me? But deep down, he knew there was no spark between them. Maybe he just misunderstood. No way Yeren actually liked me. So he decided to make something up and get back to studying. I like girls with long hair, Gio said slowly. Someone nice, popular, someone with good fashion sense, like wearing lenses instead of glasses. Yeren smirked. I don't wear lenses. I've got perfect vision. In Gio's head, so what? Whoa, does she think I'm talking about her? Does this mean she's actually into me? Is she asking me to say I like her? She's definitely nudging me. But she's just a friend. If I say no, does that mean I'm really alone? Weren't you going to say something? Yeren pressed. All those things you just said about your dream girl, that's me, isn't it? Later, on his way home, Gio replayed that moment in his head. He was shocked by what he'd said earlier, but he told Yeren the truth. Sorry, I never thought of you as more than a friend, and I wanted to keep it that way. As he pressed the elevator button, he wondered if he'd done something to mislead her. He was grateful Yeren had talked to him before, but he couldn't date someone he didn't even like. He wasn't even sure she was a good friend. Their conversations didn't flow, they had nothing in common. Hanging out with her was more of a distraction than anything, and he didn't want a distraction from his studies. Starting today, he thought, he should just start over. The elevator doors began to close, when suddenly, someone grabbed them. It was Miho. He recognized her instantly. Did she move into his building? He wondered why she didn't press any button yet.
Inside the elevator, the atmosphere was tense. Gio wondered if Miho had just moved in, but he hadn't heard anything about new neighbors. Still, he thought to himself, forget it, why would I even talk to her if she's just gonna give me the cold shoulder again? They both got out of the elevator without saying a word. Gio told himself there was no use trying to be nice to her anymore. When Gio stepped inside his house, he asked his mother if someone had moved in next door. His mother said yes, and added that it would be better for him to go say hello since they would be neighbors for a while. She even said she was going to make rice cakes tomorrow so Gio could bring some over and introduce himself. But Gio didn't want to. He thought it would be annoying. Meanwhile, at a bus stop, Yeren sat troubled, thinking about how she'd just been rejected by Gio. She kept asking herself, why did he reject me? Am I not enough for him? All the dream girl stuff he talked about, it was me. But what if he wasn't even talking about me? She couldn't believe she'd been rejected by someone like Gio, a loner. It was humiliating. Just then, her phone rang. It was her friend. When Yeren answered, she said bitterly, you told me I was a catch. How could this happen? But before her friend could respond, Mi Jiyoung's voice cut in. Hey, I heard you asked him out. Surprised, Yeren asked if she was with Hyunju, but Mi Jiyoung said no. How do you even know this? She told me. How could you? Yeren, I asked you to set me up with him. You couldn't let me have him, could you? Then Hyunju jumped in, pretending, it's not like Yeren went out of her way. Gio wanted to talk to her. Isn't that right, Yeren? Cut off guard, Yeren quickly agreed. Of course, Gio wanted to see me out of the blue. Hyunju pressed further, so what did he say? He asked you out, right? He was this close to asking you out, so did you say yes? Yeren froze. Before she could answer, Mi Jiyoung muttered, he asked her out? Please, she's bluffing. You two aren't a thing. Everyone can see that. Why would you pretend? That's psychotic. You were bragging just for attention? Did you think I wouldn't know? Feeling cornered, Yeren lashed out with a lie. You don't understand. He totally asked me out. And we're going out. For a moment, Mi Jiyoung and Hyunju were silent. Then they burst into laughter. Hyunju teased, see, he's totally into you. I told you it would work out. Then she whispered that Mi Jiyoung was acting strange and probably jealous, and that Yeren should have seen her face. She looked pathetic. But soon after, Hyunju said she had to hang up to comfort Mi Jiyoung. Yeren sat frozen. Panic hit her. She just lied, and now she had no idea how to fix it. That night, Mi Jiyoung and Hyunju were chatting behind her back, mocking her and calling her a loser for lying about dating Gio. Suddenly, Yeren called Hyunju. The moment she picked up, Yeren yelled through the phone, how could you tell Mi Jiyoung that? But Hyunju shot back, what's wrong with it? I just watched Mi Jiyoung get jealous of you. Aren't you happy? Yeren shouted, of course I'm mad. Hyunju got defensive. I thought we were in this together, to mess with Mi Jiyoung. That's what we did. So what's the problem? Yeren snapped, you don't understand. Mi Jiyoung is pathetic. She'd even go after a guy who already has a girlfriend. She's a complete moron. Hyunju offed it off and said Yeren had nothing to worry about, that Mi Jiyoung was insanely jealous of her anyway. She revealed that she'd already told other kids about their plan to expose Mi Jiyoung, and that everyone agreed. Yeren was shocked that Hyunju had spread it without asking first. But Hyunju just said, relax, as long as you didn't lie, you're fine. Then she hung up. Yeren slammed her fist on the table, furious. Her mother came in asking what was wrong, but Yeren snapped, get out, and slammed the door. She was screwed now. She had no idea how to fix this mess. But then she remembered Mi Jiyoung's words and grew even angrier. At that moment, Yeren realized she had no choice but to go along with the plan. She didn't really need to date Gio, she just needed him to play along when confronting Mi Jiyoung. He was a loner. No one else really talked to him, and he always ran errands for her without complaining. She figured if she kept being nice, he would do her a favor. The next morning, Yeren approached Gio. Dude, why did you just walk away yesterday? You know I was kidding, right? I promise I won't distract you. Let's study together. But Gio replied, Yeren, you said you'd get your act together and study, but I never see you actually study. You're always bored, always bothering me to hang out. I don't understand why you have to study with me. Yeren laughed it off. Why so serious? Is this about yesterday? I told you it was a joke. But Gio said, I just find it awkward, Yeren. You're always interrupting my studies. Suddenly, Miho appeared. She looked straight at Yeren and said, hey, get up. Yeren shot back, I'm Gio's friend. I'll get up when I'm done talking to him. Miho didn't budge. I don't care if he's your friend. You're sitting in my seat. Get up. Just then, the teacher arrived, leaving Yeren no choice but to stand up and move. Miho sat down and turned to Gio. I don't care if he's your friend. Just don't let her sit in my seat again. It pisses me off. Gio sweat, stunned. Later at home, Gio's mom left a plate of rice cakes, telling him to deliver next door to Miho's family. Gio was tempted to throw them away, but he remembered his mom's request, so he had no choice. He rang the doorbell. Miho opened the door. Gio handed the plate over.
My mom made rice cakes. She told me to give these to you. Miho looked at the rice cakes, then back at Gio. I also have rice cakes for you. Come inside and get them. Gio blinked. What? Miho repeated more sharply, I said come inside and get them. Gio said, you could just bring them out yourself. Why should I go in? But before he could finish, Miho suddenly grabbed his hand and pulled him inside. Gio stumbled and fell to the floor. He snapped, hey, what do you think you're doing? But when he looked up at Miho, her face had changed, twisted into a monstrous form, ready to devour him.
Inside the dark house, Gio was lying unconscious. Then his eyes slowly opened, his head soaked in blood as he struggled to catch his breath. Miho appeared. You're up, she said calmly, then continued walking. You still have your memories from that body of yours, right? I'll let you handle your missing memories. Go on, use your original memories, act normal. Oh, one more thing. Don't ever talk to me again. You disgust me, and it pisses me off, okay? I'm done talking now. Get the hell out of here. But before Miho could finish, Gio weakly spoke. What just happened? Gio looked at his hands. They were soaked in blood. Behind him, Miho stood, ready to attack again. So, that wasn't a hallucination? It was real? Gio muttered. Then Miho attacked him once more. After a couple of minutes, Miho paused, frowning. The parasite had definitely gone in, but something was strange. Defective. Who knew they could come out defective? She muttered, stepping on the twitching parasite. Gio slowly regained consciousness again. Miho was sitting, waiting. Awake, huh? You take care of your missing memories. Before she could finish again, Gio crawled toward the door. Monster, he whispered. Miho froze in shock, but when Gio tried to call for help, she quickly covered his mouth and attacked again. For the third time, Gio woke up. Miho was staring at him. As he opened his mouth to call for help again, she covered it once more. This time, Miho closed in. Oh, I get it. It wasn't effective. You're unique. Back to the present. Gio was in shock as Miho told him he was a monster too. You mean I'm a monster now? Gio asked. Miho smirked. That's right. You panicked and started avoiding me. Gio froze in disbelief, but Miho stepped closer, grabbing his hand. I know it's confusing, but don't worry. You're special. Not like the other mindless monsters who do whatever they're told, and not like the lowly humans full of hate. You and I, we're one of a kind. We get each other. We're partners. Let's end this fake boyfriend and girlfriend act. We used to love each other. Really love. We talked about our future together. We can go back to that. Gio shook his head. Love? Future? What are you talking about? Miho's eyes glowed with intensity. You asked me to make everyone into monsters except for us, so we could create a utopia, just the two of us, together, forever. Gio shoved her away. Suddenly, he coughed violently and vomited. That's when Gio remembered the notes in Miho's phone. He'd seen a list of people she turned into puppet monsters, and one of them was his friend. The realization hit him. The reason none of the accidents were ever reported on the news was because Miho hadn't killed them. She had turned them into monsters. Seijin, you turned him into a monster? His voice trembled. What about my family? Did you turn them too? Miho looked at him coldly. You told me to create a world for just the two of us. Enraged, Gio grabbed the hammer and swung it at her. Miho blocked it with her arm. Listen, Gio, she said, I didn't mean to turn everyone into monsters. It was you who asked me to create this world for just the two of us. I don't understand why you're so upset. I did exactly what you wanted. Gio pinned her down, his hands tightening around her throat. Shut up. There's no way I said those words. Stop lying and tell me the truth. Why are you doing this to me? Miho gasped, but managed to answer, Because I love you, of course. I love you, that's all there is to it. When you forgot about us, I panicked. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if you'd believe me if I told you about us. I wasn't sure if you could handle the truth. After all, you didn't remember anything. I was scared. What if you never recovered your memories? But now you're starting to remember, and I'm so happy to see you trying to get them back. Just then the curtain opened. A comic shop worker saw them. What are you doing?
Miho snapped, "Shut up and leave us alone." The worker shouted back, "You can't do that. Get your hands off her now." Miho's eyes widened. "You're not a monster yet, are you?" Her hand turned into a monster, striking at his head. But the other people nearby just stood frozen, as if nothing had happened. Miho let go of the worker. "I thought I'd taken care of this area already. I'd better double check." Then she turned to Gio, smiling. "So, what do you think, Gio? Does any of this seem familiar to you?"
In the first part of this story, everything seemed normal until Gio uncovered a horrifying truth about the girl he loved. Gio discovered that his girlfriend Miho devours human flesh. He saw her kill his best friend, only to question reality when that same friend appeared alive. Doubt, fear, and madness consumed him as he struggled to understand. Was Miho truly a monster, or was Gio simply losing his mind? And now, Miho finally breaks the silence. She reveals her past, how she turned into a monster, and the moment she dragged Gio into her nightmare. The truth is darker than he ever imagined, because Gio himself is no longer human. Gio was still in shock upon hearing the truth. His world shattered, his love twisted, his fate uncertain. The story continues. Gio was still in shock, but he forced himself to ask Miho, "How many have you turned into monsters?" Miho's expression stayed calm. She said, "Not enough." Then her voice softened, almost dreamy. Imagine it, Gio, a grand empty musical theater where the most famous actors perform just for the two of us, an amusement park where we're the only ones there, watching fireworks every night, a world where everything belongs only to us. Her eyes gleamed, and it was you who suggested it all. I'll make your dream come true. I'll do everything for you. All you have to do is love me in return. Gio's sweat dripped down his face. In his mind, love you? You turn people into monsters. You turn my family into monsters, and you expect me to love you? Miho studied his shaking hands, his pale face. She said, "You're not ready. That's why I didn't want to tell you until your memories came back. I was hoping you'd recover them all." Then she stepped closer. "Gio, live with me. Quit school. We can get a hotel and stay there together, waiting until our utopia is ready." But suddenly, Gio's voice cut through her words. "Don't. I want you to stop eating people altogether. If you really love me, please don't do anything." Miho froze, then slowly smiled. "Fine. I'll put everything on hold until your memories come back." But neither of them realized someone was on the other side of the wall, secretly recording their entire conversation. Outside Gio's house, Miho walked with him, smiling faintly. "Let's meet again tomorrow." She stood there watching Gio disappear into the distance. Then she sat down on the stairs, staring blankly, until memories of her past began to surface. When Miho was just a child, she played with her friends. One of them, a mischievous boy, kept poking a worm with a stick. Suddenly, a huge worm slithered out of a tree log. The boy grinned. "Let's play with the big one." The other girl shrieked, "No way, it's disgusting." But before they could run, the worm leapt at their faces. Miho stood frozen as her friends screamed. Then another parasite jumped directly onto Miho's face. Minutes later, she woke up, dazed. She looked around, searching for her friends. They appeared behind her, but something was wrong. "Hey, did something just crawl into our ears?" Miho asked weakly. But her friends only stared at her. Then, together, they called her Mom. Miho's face twisted in terror. "What? No, don't call me that." She crawled backward as they approached, chanting, "Mom, Mom," over and over. "Stay away from me! Go away!" Miho screamed. Tears streamed down her face. When she opened her eyes again, they had stopped walking and simply turned away. Miho was left trembling, unable to understand what had happened. That night, the police discovered 2 children dead. Their faces were horribly mangled. The officers said it was probably a wild beast. Miho, innocent, terrified, had no idea what really happened. 1 year later, Miho had grown. On her first day of middle school, her mother smiled warmly. "Are you nervous for your first day?" Miho nodded shyly, showing off her new uniform. They looked like a happy family. Her father asked Miho to come closer to show her photo, but before he could, Miho suddenly doubled over, vomiting.
Her parents rushed to her side until they saw what she threw up. A parasite. It writhed on the floor, then sprang at their faces. Miho screamed, "No, stop! Mom! Dad!" She begged the parasite to stop, but another one erupted from her throat, latching onto her parents. When they opened their eyes again, they called her mom. Miho broke down, sobbing. She remembered her friends, remembered the same horror. From then on, Miho knew. Gio wasn't just unique. He was just like her. For Miho, Gio was the only one who could understand, and she was the only one who could understand him. No matter how much Gio denied it, no matter how desperately he tried to run, Miho believed they were meant to be. She was waiting for the day he would realize it, just like he had back in high school. Meanwhile, inside the bathroom, Gio looked at the mirror, trying to figure out if what Miho said was true. He touched his head and found a cut. When he felt it, he laughed bitterly and said to himself, "So, was everything true? That I killed Yeren? That I'm a monster and that I convinced Miho to turn everyone into monsters?" Gio walked out of the bathroom. At the lobby of a cell phone repair shop, Gio sat down, still thinking about what happened at the comic shop. He wondered how many people Miho had turned into monsters. He looked at the people around him and asked himself, are they monsters too? A staff member approached and asked if he brought his phone for a screen replacement. Gio handed over the phone to be fixed, still thinking maybe he was a monster too. But he tried to convince himself they can't all be monsters. She would have had to do it one by one. She couldn't have done it all. Then, outside, Gio opened the notes on Miho's phone. His teeth clenched, his hands trembled when he saw the list of people Miho had turned into monsters. He slumped down. Each page had about 20 names, and there were 142 pages. At least 2,800 people all turned into monsters because of Gio's request to Miho. He froze in shock. He knew there must be even more, names not written on the phone. Then his eyes widened. On the list, there was a photo. It was Yeren. Yeren was also turned into a monster. Gio remembered Yeren's death. He remembered looking at her body, then looking to the side. There was a witness. It was Miho. Miho bit her lip, covered her mouth, and laughed in satisfaction. She had done all of this. Meanwhile,
Inside Miho's house, she cleaned picture frames. She smirked, then her phone rang. She set the frame down and answered. It was Gio. He said they should finish their conversation and told her he was outside. Miho opened the door and let him in. She sat, smiling, saying it must have been hard for him to believe without proof. She sounded excited that he was trying to get his memory back. Gio forced a smile. "Don't worry," he said, "I was just confused back then. I couldn't think straight. I'm thankful you're trying to help me get my memory back." Miho smiled and glanced at his bag. She said it was nice they could finally sit and talk. She said high school had been troublesome, how Gio always ran when she asked to talk, how he dodged even short conversations like a scared dog. They never had a chance to sit quietly. Miho asked if Gio remembered anything else. Gio said he didn't. She reassured him it would come back bit by bit as they kept talking. Then she asked if he wanted to hear what happened right after she turned him into a monster, or if he had any burning questions. Gio asked why she stuck with him even when he ran in high school. Why wait almost 2 years to tell him the truth? Did she like him because he was special, different from the others she turned into monsters? Miho's face softened. She said Gio liked her first. He grew on her. When she first became a monster, she felt disgusted with herself and couldn't accept it. But Gio reacted differently. He accepted it and started planning what to do. For Miho, that felt right. She wanted to be like him. She picked up a photo and showed it to Gio, saying he'd said he liked her first, so there was no reason not to like him back. Inside Gio's mind, "You don't love me. You killed my family and ruined my life. You don't love me, you use me. I'll never forgive you. I'll kill you, Miho." He forced his face calm and asked about Miho's arm. He touched it and felt it was healed. He asked if it had hurt. Miho said it didn't hurt at all. Gio thought about her weak point, the thing that might control her. Maybe her head, maybe an organ. He remembered swinging a hammer at her head and her blocking with her arm. She hadn't felt pain when hit by a car. If her head was the weak spot, maybe he could kill her. Suddenly, Miho said, "Come out." A group of people, puppet monsters, emerged from another room. Miho said, "Gio, you don't remember everything, but you haven't changed. In high school, you understood me and loved me. I was naive enough to believe it. You pretend to care, pretend to recover your memory, but you're trying to kill me and run. What threat will stop you from running? Come with me, I'll show you. They forced Gio out of the house. The puppet monsters dragged him. The man who had been spying watched from his car. He forwarded the recording to Orion. As Orion listened, memories came back, when she smashed Miho's head with a bat wearing a helmet. Back then, Orion had taken a monster from Miho and kept it for herself. She removed the helmet and for a moment looked different, black hair, and said something like, "I'm your mom," to the monster Miho had made.
It turned out Ir-young was using the monsters to make money for herself. She treated them like a cash machine, but she wasn't satisfied. She wanted more. She wanted a jackpot. She wanted to control Miho. A few days later, Ir-young caught Miho turning someone into a monster again. Her subordinate pinned Miho to the floor with a taser. Ir-young was too late to take that newly made monster for herself, so she decided to dispose of it. Still, she thought she could use the victims. All she needed was their phones and fingerprints to access bank accounts and take loans. Then one of Ir-young's underlings who'd grabbed Miho started acting strangely. Ir-young watched him, and suddenly he turned into a monster too. He attacked Ir-young, shoving her back. During the struggle, the parasite fell off and they ran. That's when Ir-young realized the truth. The monster wasn't Miho herself, but a parasite living inside her body. The parasite jumped from Miho onto Ir-young's underling and attacked her. Ir-young was furious. She had lost most of her puppet-making money in the process, but she told herself it was fine. Miho still didn't know that Ir-young had been stealing her monsters because Ir-young always wore a helmet during the raids. The next morning at school, Ir-young showed up with blonde hair. Miho noticed right away. She said the color suited her, touched her hair, and asked when she'd gotten it done. Ir-young lied, saying 3 days ago. Inside, Ir-young was plotting. She wanted to tame Miho, kidnap her, turn her into a monster-making puppet, but she knew Miho wouldn't obey her command. Miho wasn't someone who could be controlled so easily. Ir-young needed to find her weakness. Then Gio appeared. From that moment, Ir-young began watching the two of them closely. After the car accident, Ir-young kept asking herself, who really is Gio? A clueless kid who didn't know Miho was a monster? Another monster Miho created for her own pleasure? Or maybe Gio was the real monster and Miho was the one he created? To Ir-young, it didn't matter. All that mattered was Gio's importance to Miho, and that meant he could be used. Listening to the recording, Ir-young first thought Gio was simply Miho's weakness, but the tape showed they shared a long history. Miho was desperate for love. Ir-young laughed at the thought. She turned his family and friends into monsters and expects him to love her? How could he love her after everything she's done? She's insane, completely out of her mind. Just then, her subordinate called. The job was done. He told her he had taken 35 million won from the 4 people they'd exploited. He asked what to do with the bodies. They'd rot and smell and were hard to dispose of. Ir-young said it was fine. They were in the middle of nowhere, nobody would notice. She thanked him, called him Oppa, and added that without him, she never would have learned Miho was a monster. Then she hung up. Meanwhile, on Gio's side,
Gio was cornered in the car by 2 monsters. Then Miho spoke. She said they'd arrived and ordered them to get off. Outside the hospital, the detective was walking in for a health check. He needed a report for his promotion. Inside, a nurse told him to take a pill and lie on his side for an endoscopy. He followed the instructions and lay down. Minutes later, he began losing consciousness from the drugs. The nurse looked at him and moved him into the operating room. On the operating room, the detective was unconscious. They shaved his head, drilled a hole, and one staff member stepped away to get something. He returned holding a jar. Inside, it was a parasite. They put the parasite into the detective's brain. After the operation, they moved him with the other unconscious patients to a different area. A nurse put headphones on him, and as he opened his eyes, he mumbled, "Mom." The nurse turned on the monitor. Miho's video played. "Did you lose any memories while settling in? Will it interfere with your life?" Miho asked on the screen. "Use your muscle memory and go about your business until I summon you. You're just waking up from an endoscopy. Don't ever question the scar on your head. If you remember you became a monster, lose that memory. And don't ever call me Mom again. It makes me sick." The nurse shut off the monitor. After the procedure, the detective walked through the hospital and met someone he knew. They spoke briefly, then a loudspeaker announcement filled the building. "Attention visitors! This is an announcement from Seoul National University Hospital." A woman complained it was too loud, but the message kept going. It told everyone who heard it to smile and dance to the rhythm. In the control room, Miho is making the announcement. She counted a rhythm, and one by one, the people who heard it started smiling and dancing in a creepy, synchronized way. Only one person did not join. Miho told the speaker that anyone not dancing would be handed to the doctors and turned into a monster, then act like nothing happened. All the monsters gathered around the woman who had complained. Miho turned off the microphone, then looked at Gio and asked what he thought. "Did you enjoy the hospital flash mob?" she asked. "What should I make them do next? A monster jam in the middle of Seoul, or synchronized gymnastics shaped like our faces?" She stepped closer. "Stop running. Accept this new reality. You're running out of places to hide. I'll make a world just for the two of us. Give up, Gio. I love you." Gio froze. He realized everyone around him was already a monster. There was no easy way out. He couldn't accept living the rest of his life kissing up to Miho and pretending to love her. He couldn't. He started laughing as his legs lost strength. In his head, he thought, "Why would I subject myself to that humiliation? What did I do so wrong? If I have to live like that, maybe I should get rid of you. You caused all of this mess. Then maybe I could try to forget that everyone is a monster. That could be the solution."
Mio told him not to feel bad. He'd never see or speak to most of the people she'd turned into monsters. Who would care if they died or had an accident? No need to feel guilty, she said. She could help him get rid of that guilt. Outside the hotel, there was a banquet and music. Miho swam in the pool and asked Gio to join her. He might be bored sitting alone, she said. They were the only people at the hotel, so there was nothing to stop them from having fun. If he was bored, they could play human dominoes, or she could order fireworks, or invite celebrities, the ones she'd turned into monsters, to sing. Whatever he wanted, she could make it happen. Gio asked, "Is it really okay to enjoy all of this?" Miho looked surprised. "Of course it is," she said. "So I can humiliate them, do whatever I want to these people," Gio pressed. "What do you mean people?" Miho replied. "We're the only people here. I told you, you can torture or kill any bug in this hotel right now. No one will blame you. So yes, do whatever you want. I'll be here to watch. No more guilt." A puppet monster brought dessert to Gio. He ate it and suddenly laughed, clenching his fist. "It's so sweet," he said. The puppet monsters lined up and began falling like dominoes, and Gio enjoyed watching. Miho handed him another dessert. "Try this, it's delicious," she said. He bit it and smiled. "This hotel has the best desserts," he said. He raised his hand and ordered the most expensive dessert, 50 of each kind. The chef, dancing and covered in food, obeyed. Miho laughed, "Your wish is my command." They looked at each other and burst out laughing hard as the puppet monsters danced and played music. Miho told Gio she was relieved to see him enjoying it. Gio smiled. "We should make a toast," he said, handing over a bottle of wine. "A toast to our world." They cheered and Gio drank deeply. After a lot of wine, Gio floated in the pool. Miho called to him and asked if he liked the trial version of the world she was building. "I love it," he said. "Thank you, I'll never forget this. I want to live this luxurious life forever." He said he couldn't wait for their world to be finished. Out of nowhere, Gio asked how many people she'd turned into monsters. He was curious. She told him it would happen soon. She said she'd already taken over most of the big hospitals in Seoul and that nearly everyone would be a monster within 2 years. Gio said he thought she worked one-on-one to turn people. Miho explained that was how she started, but she'd scaled up. Gio praised her, amazed that she'd turned a hospital into a monster factory. "If it were me, I'd never have thought of that. You're amazing," he said. Miho was glad he saw it that way. She told him he didn't remember those times, but for her, it had felt great to be near him. She couldn't wait to build a world where they could rely on each other. She added she had a toy she used to play with, someone who didn't run away and always fought back. But now that she had Gio, she said, she didn't need that toy anymore. Gio asked what the toy was. Miho said it was someone presumptuous who kept trying to mooch from her. It was fun to play with, but she didn't need the toy now that she had Gio. She went on and said she was so happy that if she had known this would happen, she should have told Gio the truth sooner. She shouldn't have been so cautious. In high school, she'd learned threats were the best form of conversation. Then she said, "I love you" to Gio. Inside Gio's mind, "You monster. How can you say you love me? You're disgusting. I feel sick. You love me? I'll give you the love you want. I'll pretend to love you until you let your guard down, and then I'll finish you." He told Miho, "I love you too," but suddenly he vomited. "Sorry, I had too much wine." Miho looked at what he'd thrown up and almost sadly, "You're still not ready. Today could have been perfect. What a shame."
Then she added, "Let's talk, Gio. It could help jog your memory." Sure, that's a great idea, Gio said. But before we start, one question. Who is this toy you keep talking about? How did you play with it? Why do you ask? Miho said. You told me it got you through rough times, Gio said. Maybe I can learn something. Maybe I could help you. So tell me, Gio, do you think you're a monster or still human? Do you know why I drill a hole and put a parasite in people's heads? Because that way I can better preserve their memory. If I put them in the nose or ear, those squirmies would crush the brain as they settle in and damage the brain. That's what causes memory loss. I learned that from experience. Drilling straight into the head is the sensible option. That's why I pierce their heads now. She stepped closer. So what does that make us? You and I don't lose our memories, and we don't go around saying "Mom" like the other monsters. What makes us special? Maybe we keep our memories whole, unlike them. Yes, I've retained my memories, but what if I'm not the person I was before? Does that make us parasites? Doesn't that make you sad and creep you out at the same time? How can I accept being a parasite? I hated myself for it. But then you changed how I saw things. You loved the new person I became. The toy I told you about, well, it accepted me, but tried to take advantage. Instead of running away, it tried to use me. I enjoyed it. I felt validated. It didn't even realize I knew everything. I watched the whole time. You have no idea how fun it was to watch it giggle, thinking it had stolen all my monsters. I could play with it until it crossed the line, then toss it away. That toy was Iriang. Miho knew everything about Iriang. She had been acting dumb. Meanwhile, Iriang watched the hospital video where the monsters smiled and danced. She broke down in front of a subordinate and said they had to run. She hadn't known there were so many monsters. This was beyond her control. It was too dangerous. She needed to leave the country. She wondered, if Miho could control that many monsters, why did Miho never attack her? Then she realized Miho had been toying with her. She could get rid of her whenever she wanted. If Miho could make that strange dance party at the hospital without suspicion, maybe she was hiding many more monsters. What if it wasn't just one hospital? What if airport staff and pilots were monsters too? If so, could I really run? Iriang said. Should I beg for my life? Suddenly, Gio called. Iriang answered. Hey Iriang, you know Miho is a monster, right? Help me please, Gio begged. I know this is sudden and you might not believe me, but Miho is just messing with you. She's taking advantage of you. In Iriang's head, she wondered, how does he know I've been stealing monsters? Why tell me now? She played dumb. Sorry, Gio, I have no idea what you mean. Miho a monster? Did you two fight? Gio grew desperate. Don't play games, Iriang, or I'll tell Miho. She's outside. I'll ask her to punish you for stealing her monsters. Don't make me do this. I'll make her drag you here. Stop playing me for a fool. I'm going to tell Miho right now. Did you hear me? Iriang snapped. Shut up, you loser. Gio kept begging on the phone. Please help me. How am I supposed to tell who's a monster? They all sound the same. You're the only one I know who's not a monster. With no other option, Iriang asked, what do you want me to do? Gio said, help me kill Miho. I'm at a hotel. Everyone here is a monster except me. I can't think how to kill her. You've been stealing monsters. You must know how to fight them. Iriang hesitated. What if Gio was tricking me? I knew Miho and Gio were both monsters. Why would Gio want Miho dead? Maybe he hadn't fully recovered his memories and wanted revenge for his family and friends that turned into monsters. Gio begged again. Please, Iriang, are you going to help me or not? Don't tell me you want to become a monster too. If we don't do something, everyone will be monsters within a year, including you. He added that Miho had turned hospitals into monster factories. Annual physicals and surgeries were being used to create monsters. That caught Iriang's attention. Which hospital is the monster factory? She asked. Gio's answer made her realize Miho wasn't turning people one by one into a monster. She was using hospitals to mass-produce monsters. If that was true, Iriang could learn the method at the hospital. She could build an overseas monster farm and create her own kingdom. She told her underling to pull the car over. Then she said into the phone, Gio, about what you just said.
Can you tell me more? Iriang said. How did you even find out about this, Gio? Did Miho tell you too? Gio said he'd seen it with his own eyes, people being turned during surgeries, monsters controlled through recorded video on a TV. "Please, Ir-young, you have to believe me," he begged. Ir-young asked, "So, the hospital really creates these parasite monsters?" "Yes," Gio said. "They're made right in the hospital. I saw it. Please, will you help me?" Gio had no clear plan. He'd called out of desperation and even threatened Ir-young because he was panicked. "Sorry about that," he said. "I only said it because I'm desperate." Ir-young thought for a moment. He's not bluffing. He's genuinely panicking. And he's important to Miho. I need to get hold of him no matter what. He's a safety net for me. She decided to help him. "All right," Ir-young said. "So you're at a hotel. Can you get out, or are you being held captive?" "I'm not sure," Gio admitted. "I think I'm being held." Ir-young kept thinking, if Miho cares so much about Gio, I can use that. I could make a diversion at the hospital so Miho has to leave the hotel. When she does, I'll get you out. She told Gio that plan and they hung up. Inside her head, she said, "Lucky bastard. If I were you, I'd be thinking how to use the situation. This is a waste. He doesn't deserve any of this. Miho loves him so much. Maybe I should just run. But what if monsters are everywhere at the airport? I'll need a hostage to get out safely." Gio returned to Miho. "Sorry it took a while," he said. "Shall we go inside? It's getting cold." On the way in, Gio asked, "Do you have a manual or something in case there's a fire or someone tries to destroy the hospital and discovers your secret?" "Destroy the hospital?" Miho scoffed. "That could never happen. Can we talk about our past instead?" Gio forced a smile. "You're right. I asked too many questions. I'm sorry. There are so many things I don't know. I couldn't help it." Miho said she understood. "But what's more important than our past?" she asked. Gio in his mind, I should back off. If I push, she'll get suspicious. Ir-young might not attack the hospital now. She could wait until I deliver the manual, or she could run. What if she's pretending to cooperate? What if she really runs? Miho watched him closely. "What are you thinking about, Gio?" He lied. "I was thinking about your toy. What if she finds out and runs? What if Ir-young flees the country and ruins the utopia you worked so hard for?" Miho smiled. "You were thinking about our future. I thought you were thinking about something else. Don't worry. Do you know how many backup plans I made because you ran away so often? Do you think I'd play with Ir-young without plenty of fallbacks? She can never get away or ruin what we're building. You just focus on getting your memories back, okay?" Miho leaned in, calm but intense. "I told you how I turned you. I remember saying, it wasn't defective, you're just unique. In the past, at that time, I wondered why you were like me. What do we have in common? Is there something special about your brain? I need to explain." She softened her voice. "So, what did you say your name was? Can we talk a bit? I know you're confused. You probably sense something's wrong. I was like you once. Usually, when parasites get into a head, people become my pets. They answer to me. But you're different. I think you're special, just like me." Miho reached into her throat, pulled out a parasite, and showed it to Gio. He panicked. He ran desperately, scared, stumbling back into his house and fumbled for his phone. He said, "I'm calling the police." Trembling, Miho stayed on the other side of the door, pleading, "I know this is confusing. You still have all your memories. Look at this, you're not human anymore." She begged him not to make it harder and asked to talk it out. "I've never met anyone like you. You don't know how lonely I've been. Does that make me bad or weird? I finally see hope. What will it take for you to speak to me?" Gio's mother appeared behind her and said, "Who are you?" Gio recognized her voice and opened the door, rushing to her. For a long second, everyone froze.
Miho looked at Gio's mother and then at Gio, smiling like she had just found something interesting. At that moment, Gio's mother looked at him and saw Gio's head bleeding. Without hesitation, Gio's mom pushed Miho into the corner and grabbed Gio, pulling him into their house. Inside the house, Gio's mother asked him what happened, why he was bleeding, and who that girl at the door was. She asked if he knew her, what was going on, and if she was the reason for his injury. Gio said yes, she did it, Mom. His mother said that he was bleeding so much and that they needed to get him to the hospital. But Gio panicked and said, "Mom, can we go later? I'm fine."
Then she opened the door. Outside, Miho was not there. They both wondered where Miho had gone. In Gio's mind, he thought, I guess she doesn't care if people find out I'm a monster, huh? Inside the elevator, Gio's mom asked him, So tell me, what happened, Gio? Something is wrong with that girl, right? But before he could explain, Miho appeared and said, Hello, ma'am? I'm sorry this is how we're meeting each other for the first time. I'm afraid there has been some misunderstanding. I just wanted to tell you that I'm his classmate and we're neighbors. I just moved in yesterday. Gio's mom, surprised and sweating, replied, I heard you hurt my son in the head. Is that true? Then Miho's puppet parents appeared, introducing themselves. One said he was Miho's father and that they needed to talk privately, parent to parent. Gio quickly told his mom, don't agree. But Gio's mom said, I don't think that's necessary. Whatever you need to say, you can say it right here. Then Miho's fake father asked if he could whisper it to Gio's mom, but she didn't agree, saying he could just say it out loud. The fake parents looked at each other and then said that Gio got hurt because he fell. Gio's mom asked, You're telling me this injury is from a fall? Be straight with me. What happened exactly? Then the fake parents suddenly stepped into the elevator. They explained that since they had just moved in, they were supposed to introduce themselves first, but Gio had come over to say hello to their daughter when they weren't home. Then they noticed a pair of slippers and thought Miho had brought a friend. They said they knocked on Miho's room to ask if she had company, and that's when they heard a loud thud. When they opened the door, they found Gio there. They asked what happened, but he wouldn't say anything except that he fell. Miho pretended to be embarrassed while Gio looked at her in fear, sweating. Then Miho's fake father whispered to Gio's mom, saying he thought they were up to something and panicked when they realized the door was opening. Gio's mom asked, What do you mean they were up to something? She paused, then suddenly realized that Gio and Miho might have been doing something intimate in the room. Covering her mouth in shock, she said, Oh my God, and looked at Gio. Gio quickly said, I didn't do it. That's not what happened. But the look on his mom's face showed disappointment, while Miho's face showed satisfaction. On their way to the hospital, while in the car, they argued. Gio insisted that's not what happened, but his mom said she was embarrassed for pushing Miho really hard with her bag. She added that she understood the urge at their age, but that Gio had been bold to do something like that, especially with Miho's parents there. Gio shouted, Mom, are you even listening? I told you it wasn't like that. Then what was it? His mom asked. Desperately, Gio wanted to say, she was a monster. She chews on people's heads. She bit my head open and showed me a weird monster that looked like an octopus. That's what he was supposed to tell her, but he couldn't. He knew his mom would never believe him. In Gio's mind, he wondered if Miho's parents were monsters too, and why Miho would go out of her way to threaten him and dodge the situation. Maybe she wants something from me. That must be it. She's threatening me because she wants something. I'm special. She said it herself. Inside the hospital, Miho spoke. She had turned a few doctors into monsters just to test if she really was a monster. She was glad she did, because otherwise, trying to fool a doctor into believing that Gio's injury was just a simple tear would have been tricky. Then Gio asked, What do you want from me? Miho smiled. So I guess we're talking now, huh? Gio said, What option do I have? You're going to threaten me again. Why are you doing this? Miho replied, How else would I get you to talk to me? Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt your family. I know what it feels like to lose parents. My parents died when I was 14. Well, technically, I turned them into monsters, not just my parents. Then a flashback of Miho's past. At school, a friend of Miho's once asked if she could come over to her house. After that, her first friend from middle school was turned into a monster. Miho said she didn't mean to. Later, a classmate approached her, trying to comfort her, saying it wasn't her fault, that it was an accident. But Miho unintentionally turned them into monsters too, while another begged her to keep her secret. After that, people started avoiding her, whispering that everyone around Miho was becoming a freak. One even said that Miho might be cursed. At that time, she didn't mean for any of it to happen, but people began to hate her, looking at her with disgust. Miho would run into the bathroom to vomit poaching parasites coming out of her mouth. For her, it was inevitable. They emerged unintentionally. She asked if she was a bad person, if everything was her fault, and she looked pitiful because she truly didn't want any of it to happen and blamed herself over and over. But in the present, Miho said it wasn't her fault. She thought I was just a kid at that time. She insisted that she hadn't let the monsters control her while even adults around her couldn't resist. It was their fault, she said. She explained that for the longest time she thought everything was her fault, and she even wished to die, but now that she knew it wasn't, she felt relief. Because she had almost ended her life, and that wouldn't have been fair.
Finally, she thanked Gio for showing up in her life, properly introduced herself, and said, "My name is Miho. I would like us to be friends." Gio was shocked. Miho smiled and asked, "What do you think?" "You want us to be friends? Why?" Gio asked. "Haven't I explained?" Miho replied. "When a monster swallows you, most people obey the first person they imprint on. See my parents over there? They all obey me. So does the doctor who treated you." "So, you're saying you turned me into a monster, but I don't obey you like the others, and that's why you want to be friends?" Gio asked. "The parasite? The octopus thing? It's inside my head now?" Mio pointed at Gio. "No, it's not in you. It is you. The boy you remember as yourself is already gone. You're just a parasite who stole his memories, now living off his body, just like me." Gio froze, unable to believe what he had just heard. Then his mom appeared, telling him it was time to go home. She turned to Miho, apologizing for the earlier misunderstanding and for pushing her with her bag. She asked if Miho was all right. Mio smiled and said it was fine, that she should be the one apologizing for causing trouble. Gio's mom then invited Miho over, promising to make her something delicious. Miho's eyes lit up. "Really? You know, I never say no to an invitation." "You're always welcome," Gio's mom said warmly. "I hope you and Gio become good friends." "I'm sure we will," Miho answered with a smile. That night, Gio lay in bed unable to sleep. His thoughts churned. Am I really a monster? He refused to believe it. He convinced himself that he wasn't. The monster had failed to take over his mind. And even if Miho was right, that he was a parasite living off someone else's body and memories, he wouldn't live like that crazy girl Miho. He would protect his dignity as a human. But first, he had to play along. He would pretend to be her friend, just as she wanted. The next morning, he planned how to use Miho to protect his family. But the problem was how to become friends with the monster. Miho was already waiting outside. She greeted him cheerfully. "Good morning. Want to walk to school together?" In Gio's mind, he thought, I have to act calm. If she sees my fear, my family could be in danger. So he forced a smile. "Sure, let's walk together." On the way to school, Gio's mind raced. How do I win her trust? Should I buy her favorite snack? Ask her out to a movie? What would make her like me? The walk was quiet, awkward. Neither knew what to say. It had been too long since either of them had a friend. Miho glanced at Gio. Why is he so calm? Is he still in denial? She wondered if he would accept the truth once he started vomiting parasites, but she wanted to be his friend before that happened. Did he resent me? Miho thought to herself. I didn't want any of this either. He brought it on himself. I was ready to live alone forever, but he kept bugging me. And really, being a monster isn't so bad. You can't feel pain. You can live a normal life as long as you're careful. Just don't forget to spit out the parasites in the morning. For her, that was enough. She didn't care if Gio hated her. She could always threaten him. He would come around eventually. They walked in silence until their eyes met. Miho spoke. Now that you're a monster like me, don't you have any questions? Questions? I've got plenty, Gio thought. Why did you turn me? How many people have you destroyed? Are there others like you? But he knew asking that would only trigger her. If you don't have any questions, maybe I can tell you my story, Miho said. She explained that in elementary school she had been normal. But when middle school started, monsters suddenly erupted from her mouth and attacked her parents, even though she hadn't wanted them to. So what? Gio thought bitterly. Why the sob story? Is she looking for sympathy? Does she want me to comfort her? What the hell does she want? Miho continued. She said her self-loathing began that day against her will. Gio realized maybe she really did want comfort. Then he thought, what if I give her what she wants? What if I act like I understand? That would put me in control, wouldn't it? Then he spoke softly. I see. I can't imagine what that was like. It must have been so tough. There was a pause. Then Miho asked, don't you hate me? I did, Gio admitted, but you had no choice. And besides, what am I supposed to do? I'm already a monster. I should start thinking about what comes next. You had to go through it alone. I can only imagine how hard that was. But you don't have to anymore. I'm a monster, too, aren't I? Hearing his words, Miho broke down crying. She thanked Gio, saying he made her feel like it wasn't her fault.
But inside, Gio was cold. I'm just manipulating her. Give her what she wants, make her rely on me, then I can control her. Suddenly, Miho said, I want to create more monsters. Gio's heart sunk. His plan was already collapsing. Miho went on, if I keep making more, I'm bound to find others like us. I want to build a group of friends, people who understand me. She looked at him with a smile. Will you help me, Gio, since you're like me? Gio forced a faint smile and agreed.
But nearby, Yaren saw them walking together. Her chest tightened. When did they get so close? Gio is supposed to be a loner. I thought I was his only friend. What if Mijung and Hanji see this? If that happens, my plans could be ruined. While walking, Gio asked Miho how he could help her. He said he didn't know how to create a monster. But Miho told him that he could, and that 2 was better than 1. Then Gio asked if she had any specific plans. Miho said she thought about inviting the target to her home and attacking them in the bathroom. Gio disappointed. Is that the only way? That's sloppy and risky. You've been creating monsters all this time. Have you never been caught? What would you do if you got caught? I understand you've been lonely and you want to create more monsters like us, but don't you think you're rushing it? Why don't we wait until we're adults? In Gio's mind, what a sick monster you are. You want to create more monsters? You make me sick. I need to stop her before this gets any more complicated. But for how long? Does this mean I have to look after and control this monster for the rest of my life? Then Miho agreed and said, You're right. We can make monsters together when we become adults. Thank you for listening to me, Gio said. Behind them, Yaren quietly followed, wondering what they were talking about and if they were going out or not. Then her 2 friends appeared and said, Hey Yaren, I didn't know you walked to school at this hour. Mijong noticed Gio with another girl. She looked at Yaren and said, Isn't he your boyfriend? Why is he walking with another girl? Yaren quickly said, It's not like that. But Mijong teased her, saying she was overreacting and asking if they were really dating. Yaren insisted they're dating. Then Yeonju told Yaren to walk over there and asked Gio why he was walking with another girl. Yaren agreed but told her friends not to follow, saying she would tell them the details later. Meanwhile, as Gio and Miho walked, Miho found Gio calm, reliable, and cool. In her eyes, Gio accepted his new reality and was already planning for the future. She wished she could be like him. Miho wanted to keep talking to Gio, to really become his friend, but she didn't know what to say. While she was thinking, Yaren appeared and called out, Gio, can you come with me for a second? I want to talk to you. Gio glanced at Miho and said, What, now? What is there to talk about? But Miho said, Go ahead, Gio. I can step away. We can talk later. We sit together anyway. Miho watched them walk away. She let Gio go because she couldn't think of anything to say to him. Then she overheard Yaren's friends talking behind her. They were planning how to embarrass Yaren and spread a rumor that she was a liar. But to Miho, they just looked like they were having fun. What are they talking about? I wish I could talk to Gio like that. Miho quietly watched them, almost like she was planning something. Meanwhile, with Gio, Yaren asked why he was so close to Miho and if they were going out. That's ridiculous, Gio shouted. Then why are you overreacting? Are you really dating her or not? Gio suddenly got an idea. If I make Miho fall in love with me, maybe I'll have the upper hand. But I don't know how to seduce a monster. Yaren knows about dating, and girls understand each other better. Maybe she can help me. If my plan works, I can keep things under control. Then when the time comes, I'll finish Miho and run away. Gio looked at Yaren. We're not exactly dating, but I like her. Can you help me? Seriously? Yaren said, shocked. All you need to tell me is whether you'll help or not. Yaren froze. Frustrated but with no choice, she agreed. On one condition. I'll help. I will be friends Miho and find out what she likes. Gio quickly said no. He was worried and didn't want Yaren to be in danger. But Yaren insisted. Okay, I'll help you, but you have to pretend we're going out for 1 month. Gio didn't respond. Then 3 weeks, or maybe 2, she begged. What? I like her, not you. I can't go out with you.
Gio said firmly. With no choice, Yiren confessed. I lied to my friends. I told them we were dating. I didn't mean to lie. It just happened. If 2 weeks is too much, then just once, please. If my friends find out I lied, it will be humiliating. Gio glared at Yiren. Are you serious? Forget it. I don't need your help. Out of desperation, Yiren grabbed Gio's arm and said, if you don't want to do that, then at least say we went out. And I dumped you today. Gio felt disgusted. Hey, don't talk to me again, okay? Then he walked away, leaving Yiren still begging. Later at school, Gio sat in his usual seat. When Miho arrived, Gio asked why she wasn't there before him. He thought she'd already be in class. Miho said she just took her time walking around. Then, out of curiosity, Miho asked Gio if he was dating Yiren. Gio was surprised. Who told you that? No one, Miho said. I just overheard Yiren's friends talking about you and Yiren. I murmured softly, I feel bad for Yiren. Gio's eyes widened. How do you even know her name is Yiren? Miho hesitated a little. You know the friends I told you about? They told me after I turned them into monsters.
What? When? Just now? On the way to school? In the middle of the road? Gio asked. Miho explained. There's always a way. Those girls looked tough, like they'd jump you the moment you messed with them. So I poured milk on them, then I ran. They chased me like they wanted to kill me. I went up to a high-rise store. It was empty early in the morning. The second floor doesn't open until 11, and above that, no one was around. I lured them into a third-floor bathroom, then hit them one by one with a hammer. She added, since middle school, when I started throwing up more monsters and my friend caught me, I've started to carry a hatchet and plastic bags to get rid of the monsters. Gio remembered Miho promising they'd make monsters together later. You promised we'd make them together, he said. I did promise, but I never said I would stop making them now. In Gio's head, what the hell? Even if I become her boyfriend, can I really control this? If I even get her to go out with me, what then? How do I make her stop? Miho suddenly remembered something Mi-jeong had told her. When Miho asked how to be Gio's friend, Mi-jeong had said, share snacks, start a conversation about things you both like, hang out more. Out of nowhere, Miho asked Gio, do you want to try that next time? I don't get why you're so worried. It's not like we're going to turn everyone into monsters. If we end up making 5 more like us, then we'll stop. We just invite them to my place, turn them into a monster, and no one will know. She handed him a bottle of milk and smiled like what Mi-jeong said. Gio felt terrified. He had to stop her. Is it even possible to make her change? Miho added, maybe we can invite your friends. Gio grabbed her hand, panicked. Don't. Why not? Tell me why I shouldn't. Gio said, please don't. I'm afraid we might get caught. Those 2 girls I turned today, they seemed close. I thought if I made them into monsters, I could learn how to be your friend. I wanted to be your friend, but I didn't know how. I didn't want us to just be fellow parasite makers. I wanted us to have fun and comfort each other when things got rough. But you want me to stop because you're scared of getting caught? We can work out a plan. Why do you flat out reject this? Or are you still having a hard time accepting you're a monster? Did you say all those words just to comfort me? Was it all sugar-coated lies? It wasn't a lie, Gio said. Miho pulled away and stared at him. Then why are you trying to stop me? You said you accepted being a monster. You said we should think about the future instead of resenting this new reality. You act realistic and plan, but instead of finding solutions, you just say no. What are you hiding? She demanded. Gio couldn't answer. He stared at Miho's sharp eyes. She stood up suddenly. Where are you going? He asked, but she didn't answer. Gio ran after her and caught up outside. Stop following me, Miho said. No, said Gio. Problems start when people don't talk. This is just a big misunderstanding. Gio grabbed her hand. Miho turned and started crying. Misunderstanding? Can you honestly say you meant what you said? I know it's my fault. I'm this horrible monster. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be this way. My friends, my parents, I killed them. I'm a sick parasite living off the host of this body and its memories. How am I supposed to accept that?
I didn't mean to kill them. I didn't mean to steal this body. It just happened. I had no choice. What was I supposed to do? I'm rejected by my own kind." Watching Miho cry, Gio thought, "She's dangerous. She knows it's her fault, but keeps making monsters. She's out of her mind. It would almost be a relief if she destroyed herself with guilt, but she's a monster who might snap any moment." He had no idea what she might do next. He needed to calm her down. "I'm sorry," said Gio. "I didn't explain why. Please trust me. A disgusting parasite? Why would you say that? Your body might be eaten, but not your mind. We are not parasites. We survived them. I'm sorry I said no to your plan. I wanted to make sure it's safe before we do anything. I didn't mean to make you feel like I don't trust you. You're not a disgusting parasite. Those who couldn't fight the parasites aren't like us. We held out. You were a child when it happened. Why couldn't others? We are the ones who survived, so don't underestimate yourself. We didn't get eaten by the parasites. We beat them. Be proud. We are the real humans here. The weird ones are the others who might lose to the parasites. You shouldn't feel guilty for turning people into monsters. You're helping us see who the real humans are." Miho stammered, but you hated me at first. You told me so. Gio said, "I panicked at first. I was scared. I resented you a little, but I thought about it and I don't care anymore. I'm genuinely grateful to you. Trust me." Miho started crying harder and hugged him.
Yes, she thought as she cried inside. My life was empty, but at least I have one person on my side. He's mine. But is he really on my side? So did that clear up your misunderstanding? Once again, I'm sorry I didn't tell you right off the bat. I promise I won't do that again, Gio said. Then Miho said sorry too. Gio asked Miho to come back to the classroom with him. Miho grabbed Gio's hand and they went to the classroom together. In the classroom, Yeren noticed her friends and said, "Hey, where have you been? Do you realize it's almost lunchtime?" Mijong said we just left playing hooky. Then she asked Yeren about Gio and the girl from earlier, the one Yeren was supposed to tell them about. Yeren acted dumb and said she dumped Gio. She said she only went out with him because he was too clingy. At first, she found it funny, but then she started feeling bad for Gio. But before she could finish what she was saying, Mijong trembled, trying to hold back her laugh. Then Hyunju also laughed and said to Mijong that she was supposed to hold it in. Yeren asked, confused, "Why are you laughing?" But Mijong said to Hyunju, "I can't hold it anymore. Yeren is just too hilarious. But I do feel bad for her." Yeren asked, "You feel bad? Are you talking about me?" Then Mijong played the recorded video of what happened at the cafe before. In the video, Yeren's voice could be heard. "All those things you said about your dream girl? It's me, isn't it?" Yeren started sweating. "What? But how?" She rushed toward Mijong, demanding her to give up the video, but Hyunju stopped Yeren, and Mijong refused to give it, saying, "The good part is coming up." The video continued. Gio's voice was heard. "Sorry, I never thought of you as more than a friend. I think we should keep it that way." The whole class heard how Yeren got rejected by Gio. Mijong said, "Yeren, stop screaming. You're making other people uncomfortable. Just admit it. You got dumped. That's all there is to it." But Yeren shouted, "Shut up!" Mijong said, "Do you want to explain yourself? You said you two were dating, but weren't you just getting dumped in the video? Don't tell me you lied about dating Gio, because that's just disgusting." Her snake friend Hyunju tried to calm Yeren, saying, "They're just messing around." But Yeren got even angrier. "I know we are friends, but you really crossed the line." Then Hyunju smirked. "Wait, did you just say we are friends? So you felt puffed up just because we played along for a bit and now you think we were really friends, huh? Is that it, loser? We just wanted to see how far you would go to make fun of yourself. Friends, you say. Look around, Yeren. Do you think anyone cares if you lie? Don't kid yourself. None of these people think we're friends. Gosh, you're so pathetic. But thanks, Yeren. It's been fun. Going forward, wake up, learn to read the room, and find a friend more on your level." Then they walked out, saying they hoped it would last longer, but it was still fun for them. Yeren was left standing there, alone, like nothing happened.
Later, Yaren was outside and called her mom. Her mom asked her what was going on. Yaren asked if she could transfer schools. Her mother said, "You want to transfer now?" Yaren said yes, that she couldn't take it anymore. But her mom scolded her. "You're not making any sense. You're going to be a senior soon. Before this, you also quit judo for 1 week, and it's not like you're studying that hard. I even paid for a tutor because you said you wanted to study, but you quit after 2 weeks. You stay up late playing around, and I give you everything you want. New bags, fancy shoes every season, but now you want to transfer? What don't you like this time? How much longer is this gonna go on? You keep asking for things until you get bored. Yaren, I just want you to study enough. What are you going to do with your life?" Yaren cried silently and said, "Mom, don't do this to me. Don't you want to know why I want to transfer?" Then she started crying out loud. "I can't do this anymore. It's too hard. Aren't you supposed to ask me why I want to transfer?" There was silence. Then her mom said, "Fine, what is it this time?" Yaren shouted, "Forget it. I don't want to talk anymore." Then she hung up. Alone, Yaren cried and said, "Why is everything so messed up in my life? I can't believe no one is on my side." Suddenly, Miho appeared. "Seriously, right?" Yaren jumped. "What? You scared me." But out of the blue, Miho started rambling. "Do you think he really meant it? Or is he just pretending to get out of the situation? Hi, Yaren. I figured if I could get a friend to dig into Gio, then I could find out the truth, once and for all. I was looking for someone close to Gio, but who knew Gio had no friends? I think you're the only one close to him, so I was hoping you could help me." Yaren just stared at Miho. "What are you talking about?" Before she could finish, Miho grabbed her and jumped on her, turning her into a monster. There was silence. Then a bite could be heard. Minutes later, Miho walked away with a confused look on her face. She went back to the study room. Gio said, "I thought you went to the convenience store." Miho lied. "I did, but I didn't see anything I liked." Then she sat down, still thinking about what just happened when she turned Yaren into a monster. Miho then asked the new monster Yaren if she was really close to Gio. Yaren said she wasn't sure, she had been trying, but they were always kind of awkward. Miho said, "What? Then what were you talking to about in the morning? Why would you talk to him if you two were awkward?" Yaren said she talked to Gio because she needed his help, and that Gio told her he liked Miho. The puppet Yaren misunderstood her own memory of Gio's lie that morning. Miho froze. After hearing those words, she asked again, "What? Gio likes me? Are you sure that's what he said?" The puppet monster nodded. Miho wondered to herself, "He still likes me after all I've done? That's not possible, but why would he like me? I wonder if something went wrong when I turned him into a monster, or is he just weird? Why in the world does he like me?" Miho wanted to know how Gio really felt about her, but she didn't know how. Then she remembered what Mi-jung once told her. If you want to be friends with someone, you need to get them to like you. Share your snacks, strike up a conversation on common interests, and start hanging out. Upon remembering those words, Miho called out Gio's name and asked if they could hang out on the weekend. Days passed. At a certain restaurant, Miho and Gio were having lunch together. "This looks great," Gio said. "I know, right? I always wanted to come here, but it's a couple-themed restaurant, so I felt awkward about coming alone. I mean, I could always bring a fake monster boyfriend, but I didn't want to. I'd much rather bring a monster friend who truly understands me." "Oh, really? Thanks for inviting me here," Gio said. "I was thrilled when you asked me. I even looked up a cafe we could go to for dessert. Do you want to check it out after we're done here?" After their lunch, Miho and Gio casually walked down the street. Miho kept a close eye on Gio, silently observing him while Gio rambled about random things. Suddenly, he asked Miho what she wanted to do next. Lost in thought, Miho just stared blankly for a moment before they decided to watch a movie together. After the movie, Miho sighed. "Gosh, that movie was terrible. You know what they say, misery loves company. I should have suspected something when the rating was that high." Then Gio noticed Miho's drink ailing. He quickly handed her a wet wipe and said, "Go clean up in the restroom." "Thank you," Miho replied. As she got up, Miho noticed several plastic bags in Gio's bag. She asked,
Why do you have so many plastic bags? And what's with that container? Gio answered, I remembered how you told me about a monster randomly popping out of your mouth, so since then, I've been carrying these around. Miho was surprised and touched. Anyway, today was fun. Shall we go? But Miho stopped him. Wait! She held his hand. Do you want to go take photos tomorrow? The next day, they went to take photos together. Looking at the pictures, Miho saw that they both looked like they were having fun, like a happy couple. They began keeping in touch regularly, just like a real couple would. Miho was having fun. She asked Gio again if they could hang out. Days passed, and Miho struggled to decide what clothes to wear. She spent hours putting on lipstick and makeup, anything to make herself prettier. It's okay to go all out today just for Gio, she told herself. As she opened the door, she thought, when did everything become so much fun? All I know is I woke up one day and found myself enjoying every day, looking forward to the next. And if I'm being honest, I might be okay if you're not really being genuine. Would I be able to live this life if I wasn't a monster? I'm so happy. I know I'm a monster and I shouldn't want love, but whether you like me or not, it doesn't matter. I just want to live like this for as long as I can. That day, Gio gave Miho an odd-looking doll. I got this from a claw machine. It was really hard, but I saw you looking at it, so I went and got it for you. Then Gio handed her another item. What is this? Miho asked. Check it at home, Gio replied. We'll see each other again tomorrow. Later that evening, Miho entered her house. She muttered to herself, I wasn't really looking at the doll. It's kind of ugly, but sort of cute. As she examined it, she noticed a Band-Aid, an ointment Gio had given her earlier when she hurt her foot from wearing high heels. She grabbed them, and her face blushed as she thought about Gio's kindness and consideration. At a parking lot, Miho entered a car where Gio's mom was waiting. Is it Miho? Gio's mom asked. But Miho said, sorry, I can't take it anymore. I need to find out. She then rushed at Gio's mom and turned her into one of her puppet monsters. That night, while Gio was asleep, Miho entered his room. She grabbed his phone and unlocked it using his fingerprint. When she opened it, she saw his recent searches, all about dating. Upon seeing this, Miho was thrilled and happy. I'm so happy. Who knew life could be this beautiful? Just a few months ago, my life was a living hell. Isn't love so great? After becoming a monster, love was the first thing I gave up. Who knew I'd live to see this day? When will you tell me how you feel? Will it be next week when we go to the amusement park? Or when the exams are over? I wonder how you'll tell me. Will you write me a letter or tell me in person? Anything would be great. Gio, as long as you're with me, I don't think I'd need any other monster. She kissed Gio, then left the room. But as she closed the door, she noticed something. Gio's diary. She opened it and began to read. Talking to Miho today, I found out that monsters can come out of her body. Maybe there's a way to pull out the mother monster and kill it. The tentacles are tougher than I thought. They swell and shrink like a tongue. At first, I thought they were too big to live off a body, but that's probably why. I wonder if the swelling makes them tougher. Blunt weapons won't hurt them. I'd better stab or slash them with something sharp. I got the out-of-stock potato chips the monster wanted to try. This will get her to like me more. She got all dolled up today, so I complimented her. Don't tell me you have sentiments. You're a freaking monster. Miho's hands trembled as she turned the pages. Every entry was the same. Every word revealed Gio's true feelings. How to make her fall for him, how to get rid of her. All along, Gio had been disgusted just being near her. He couldn't stand her. He only played along to keep her in check. In truth, he wished Miho would just die. Upon reading those words, Miho approached the sleeping Gio. She looked at him closely, her eyes filled with rage and despair, terrifying, as if she were ready to kill him.
Gio thought his life was normal until he uncovered his girlfriend's horrifying secret. The girl he loved devours human flesh. As his perception of reality began to twist, he couldn't shake the question, is Miho truly a monster, or is Gio himself slowly losing his mind?
Eventually, Miho revealed everything, her past and the truth that Gio himself was no longer human. Gio saw an opportunity and stayed close to her, intending to control her. For a brief time, they shared moments that felt undeniably like love. Meanwhile at school, Yerin faced betrayal and deep humiliation. Broken and vulnerable, she fell into Miho's hands and became one of her puppet monsters. Despite everything, Gio and Miho continued to build a life together. They went on dates, shared laughter, and exchanged small acts of kindness. Miho began to believe she could live like this, even as doubts haunted her. But one fateful night, curiosity got the better of her, and she found Gio's hidden diary. What she discovered inside shattered her world completely. Gio's words weren't filled with love, but with cold, calculated disgust. He wrote how to kill her, how to make her trust him, how to end her. To him, she was never a lover, only a monster to control and eliminate. After reading those words, Miho approached the sleeping Gio. She looked at him closely, her eyes filled with rage and despair, terrifying, as if she were ready to kill him. Thoughts crept through her mind. Should I kill him? I hate him. He lied to me. He said I'm disgusting and wants me dead. How could he? I was so nice to him. Do you think you can get away with this? Wait, I can't just kill him now. You should know how much your lives hurt me. Yes, you should. But it hurts too much. It's like my heart is being ripped from my chest. I feel so miserable. Is this what it feels like to be one of those tragic movie characters? What did I do to deserve this? All I wanted was a normal life. Was that too much to ask? You're a manipulator and a liar, and I hate you. There you are, pretending to like me as if nothing happened. The way you look at me, the way you talk to me, the way you act around me, now that I know they're all lies, it makes me sick to my stomach. Whenever you smile, whenever your sweet voice calls out to me, it makes me want to choke you. I want to see you writhe in pain. I want to crush every bone in your body. Every day I'm dying inside watching you lie to me and play me for a fool. I want to kill you. That's all I can think about. But why? Why am I still sparing you? Then, inside the Ferris wheel, Gio called Miho's name and said, I really like you. Will you go out with me? Miho asked why he wanted to go out with her. Gio said that whenever he thought about everything she had gone through, his heart broke. And now that he was the same kind of monster as her, he wanted to stand by her side. Besides, she was the only one who could understand what he was going through. With her by his side, he didn't feel alone anymore. So there was no way he could not like her, and there was no one he would rather be with. So you pity me. You don't love me, you just feel bad for me. It's not like that, Gio said. My feelings are real. I love you. Miho stood up and said that Gio should prove it. In her mind, let me finish this once and for all. I'll make sure you die a painful death. Either kill me like you said you wanted to, or prove your love by letting me kill you. Don't fight me, Gio. Come on, prove it. Without hesitation, Gio kissed the parasite on Miho's body and said, I love you just the way you are. I can accept whatever you throw at me. It doesn't matter what you look like, I will love you all the same. Miho thought, why didn't I kill Gio? If I wanted to, I could have killed him then and there. A simple command to the monsters would have been enough. I wouldn't even have to lift a finger. So why didn't I kill him? It's not that I didn't want to, I couldn't, because I love him too much to kill him. Miho cried a lot. She was touched because Gio was the only person who seemed to care and love her, even though she knew, somewhere, that much of it might be a lie. For Miho, every moment they shared, every word Gio said, and all the memories they built together were too precious. She couldn't let them go. While crying, Gio hugged Miho and she said, I love you too. In Miho's mind, the fact that you like me and all your comforting words and everything you did for me, they aren't all lies. They just haven't become real yet. When lies are repeated enough, they will become true one day. There's nothing we can't do if we keep at it long enough. So if you keep pretending, you'll get to love me one day. Now, what should I do to keep you completely tethered to me? What should I do to make you love me and only me? Miho remembered all the precious people to Gio that she had turned into monsters. Then she said, I love you to Gio with an empty, fragile smile. Days passed and Gio and Miho walked together, and Gio asked why she had been looking at her phone all day. Miho said she was feeling guilty about the people she had turned into monsters. Gio said Miho was too nice for her own good, and that was why he liked her.
He told her, as he had many times before, that it wasn't her fault. There was nothing to worry about. Miho thanked Gio and said she loved him, then leaned toward him like she wanted a kiss. "Wait, you want it here? This is a public place. Maybe we should go home," Gio said. Miho begged for a kiss. With no other choice, Gio agreed, and they slipped into an empty alley. Gio kissed the parasite on Miho's body, but while kissing, he heard a phone ring. He looked to the side and saw Yerin filming them. Yerin acted afraid and panicked that she had seen a monster. Then she ran. Miho panicked and told Gio to go after Yerin. Gio ran to catch up, but Miho, left behind, was suddenly calm. She pulled out her phone and dialed an emergency number, saying she wanted to report a crime. She thought she had witnessed a murder.
Meanwhile, Yerin kept running. Gio chased after her, calling her name. He finally caught up and grabbed her bag. "We need to talk," he said. But Yerin yanked free, let go of the bag, and continued running. As he followed, Gio shouted, "Yerin, can't you hear me? I'm not going to hurt you. Just calm down and stop." Gio stumbled and fell, cutting his hand. Blood dripped as he looked at Yerin still fleeing, irritation flashing in his eyes. Yerin scrambled up a construction site, climbing until she reached a high platform. She suddenly stopped. Gio caught up, but Yerin held up her phone, trembling. "Stop! Don't come near me. One more step and this goes live." "I won't," Gio said softly. "Just calm down." Inside, his thoughts raced. Do you have any idea what I had to do to impress that disgusting monster? I worked so hard to make sure she wouldn't create more monsters. That clip could ruin everything. If people see that video, it could trigger Miho. I might not be able to control her anymore. That could put my family in danger. Then Gio said, "Listen, Yerin, calm down and hear me out. Where are you posting that? YouTube? Do you know how many AI-generated videos are out there? You can post it, but no one will believe you. Everyone will think it's fake. Are you even an influencer? Do you have that many followers? How many people will actually see it? There's no point in running. You know Miho's secret, and she'll be here any second. If you want to live, you need to do exactly what I say." "You're lying," Yerin snapped. "You're a monster too, just like Miho. I'll never believe you." "I'm not a monster," Gio argued. "Miho is. I've been trying to stop her so she doesn't turn more people into monsters." "Shut up, monster. How could you possibly help me? You're lying, I know it." "I'm not lying," Gio insisted. "We don't have time. Miho is on her way." He pleaded, stepping closer. "Please, Yerin, we're running out of time." "Don't come any closer," Yerin screamed. "I'll keep quiet. I'll transfer to another school. Just leave me alone." But Gio pressed on. "You have to listen. I need your help to stop Miho, or she'll kill you. She's desperate for love and attention. If she thinks you admire her for being a monster, if you accept her, she might spare you." Yerin kept backing away. "Why should I? I don't believe you. You're both monsters." Gio reached out. "If you want to live, delete the video." Yerin's eyes welled with tears. She looked at him, trembling, then suddenly lunged, grabbing him and trying to shove him away. Reflexively, Gio pushed back. His eyes widened as Yerin lost her balance and fell. She plummeted from the height, crashing hard against the ground. Then immediately, Gio rushed down after her. Gio froze. Dropping to his knees, he gasped in shock. "No, I didn't mean to push her. I didn't mean to kill her." His breath shook as he looked around and saw Miho standing nearby. "Let me explain," Gio pleaded desperately. But then when he looked up, he saw Yerin's friend. Their expression was just as shocked.
Suddenly, police arrived on the scene. Sweat poured down Gio's face. When he glanced at Miho, she simply raised a hand, covering her mouth as she laughed silently. One officer called the dispatcher, confirming a fatality. "Request an ambulance and urgent assistance," he reported. Then the officers approached Gio and asked if he was okay, what happened, and why he was there. Yerin's friend shouted, "He pushed Yerin!" No, it's not like that," Gio stammered. The officers looked at Yerin's body and at Gio's hand soaked in blood. Officer, Gio tried. I didn't push her, she just started panicking and—" "Okay, settle down," one officer interrupted.
We're going to investigate everything at the station. We'll walk you through the whole process. That evening, Gio sat in the police station, his mind racing. What's gonna happen to me? I pushed Yaren and she's dead. Am I pretty much done for? No, that's not fair. She was going to throw me over her shoulder. I was just trying to protect myself. I could have died. Am I really going to prison? What about college? Will I ever get a job or make friends? What will my life be like? Is this real? How could this be happening? What will my parents think of me? How did I get into this mess? This is wrong. Honestly, I didn't really push her. She just tripped and fell. It was self-defense. Why should I go to prison? I didn't mean to kill her. But what if I can't prove it? Is my life really over? A detective entered the room. We've secured sufficient witness statements and evidence surrounding Yaren's death. Gio, you're under arrest on the charge of manslaughter. Gio's eyes went wide and he panicked. What? Wait, this is wrong. You don't understand. I didn't do this. Yaren jumped out all on her own. What do you mean she jumped on her own? Your blood and fingerprints are all over her. We have clear witness statements. This is a felony. You face a minimum of 3 years to life. Think of this as friendly advice from an adult. The small choices you make in life can have huge consequences. You must accept responsibility for your actions. Whether it was a freak accident or not, you'll pay for what you've done. The detective stepped outside and found his colleague. Did you call Yaren's parents? He asked. His parents are not picking up. I sent them a text message. He noticed a bandage on her head. What happened to your head? I fell. Just a minor tear. I got a few stitches. It's not that big a deal. She added, Georf has a visitor. I'd like to observe their meeting. Make it quick, the detective said. Miho approached Gio and called his name. Are you okay? What happened? She asked. Gio gritted his teeth. This is all because of you. Before he could finish, Miho interrupted. Do you want me to get you out? Hope flashed in Gio's eyes. What are you talking about? I can do that. How? Gio asked. He turned around, glancing back toward the detective. He remembered Miho's earlier words about creating more monsters. Fear gripped him. If I get a criminal record, I'm finished. Forget about the future, my life can never be normal again. Regardless of what happens, living a normal life is pretty much impossible for me. Should I just accept that I'm a monster? Out of desperation, Gio blurted, Miho, we should turn everyone into monsters. If we do that, we can create a world for people like us. Just imagine, we can have famous actors perform musicals just for the two of us. We can have a festival at an amusement park just for the two of us. I didn't mean to kill Yaren. It was a mistake, but I did it for us. She kept trying to upload that video. I was just trying to stop her. Think about it. This would have never happened if people didn't hate monsters. It's not right how people treat us. Just because we're monsters, people think they can do whatever. It's unfair. Let's turn everyone into monsters. Let's create a world not just for the two of us, no, for real, for people just like us. Miho leaned forward toward Gio. Gio, do you love me? She asked. With all my heart, from the bottom of my heart, I love you. Miho's smile twisted her face terrifyingly close. That's bullshit. I know you want to kill me. How can you lie like that right to my face? Boy, you were so good. I almost fell for it. Sweat dripped down Gio's neck. What are you talking about? Why would I kill you? Miho pulled out Gio's diary and read aloud. Should I kill her? Is that my only option? Every time I look at her, I feel sick. I feel like throwing up. You're disgusting. Just die. You wrote those words yourself. Why should I help you? Helpless, Gio pleaded. Listen, Miho, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have written those things. I didn't know what I was doing. That's not how I feel now. You have to trust me. Trust you? Miho spat. You say you love me, but you think I'm disgusting. How am I supposed to trust you? Desperate, Gio admitted. You're right. I'm a scumbag. I don't deserve your love. I know how ridiculous I seem. But Miho, I really wanted it to work between us. When I said I loved you, I really meant it. You have to trust me. Miho shoved the diary in his face. You did? Are you sure? Who would write these things about someone they loved? I know how it looks. I know how pathetic I seem. I wrote those words about you, and here I am asking for forgiveness. He began slapping his face. Look at me. I'm a loser, an ass, a dunce head. I'm a useless douchebag. Miho giggled, enjoying it. Gio dropped to his knees. Please, you have to forgive me. You're the only one for me. I'm like a cockroach. I can't do anything without you. I know I'm an asshole, but please. Miho looked down at him. You look really pathetic, you know that? I can't believe I'm saying this, but I still find you adorable. I hate myself for feeling this way. They say whoever loves more suffers more, and it's true. Fine, I'll get you out. Regardless of your feelings toward me, whatever you did, I'll let that all go for now, and I'll get you out. But just remember, the only reason I'm putting myself through this trouble is because I love you. Don't you ever forget that. Gio's voice trembled with joy. Miho, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry. I'm going to be different from now on. I won't let you down again. Miho smiled. Okay, remember that feeling. Just wait in there a little longer, okay? Then, just like that, Miho left. She didn't show up for 2 days. Gio didn't see her again until he was sent to the district attorney's office. Instead of being further investigated, he had to sit and listen to Miho describe the trouble she went through to get him out. He had to play along, scratching her itch. In the end, he was released without charge. When he returned to where he belonged, he didn't see her for a while. It looked like she was rushing around to build the utopia they'd talked about and trying to clean up the mess she had made while freeing him. As his life slowly returned to normal, a wave of guilt and new worries took hold. In all honesty, however, bigger than his guilt was his panic that his life was over now. A monster was threatening his family, and here he was, desperate and selfish, begging for his life. Bigger than his guilt over killing someone was the fear of living under Miho's control, and this feeling didn't go away. It made him feel even sicker. Meanwhile, someone was standing behind Gio, keeping an eye on him. At a grand hotel, Miho sat beside a bathtub where a person she had turned into a monster writhed. In her mind, she thought, I have to clean up the mess I made with the police and prosecutors, and I have to make more monsters now that I have to control Gio. I can easily lure kids my age and horny perverts, but adults, especially the good ones and girls, are hard to turn into monsters. But something doesn't feel right. I feel like I missed something, or maybe I'm just tired. Oh wait, I forgot about Yaren's phone. What did I do with her phone?
Back at Gio's side, a person stood holding a weapon, watching him. Gio heard footsteps, turned his head, and saw Yaren's mother, furious, holding a baseball bat ready to swing. Back on Miho's, she muttered to herself, so what if someone watches that video? It changes nothing. I'll just say it's an AI-generated deepfake, and if anyone makes a fuss, I'll sue them for slander. What's the problem? I'll just turn them into monsters too. Still, she couldn't shake a bad feeling. Maybe I'm too tired. I should just hang out with Gio, see a movie, talk about what we'll do once the utopia is done. But where is he? Miho called one of her puppet monsters. Where's Gio? She asked. He's at a construction site, the puppet answered. What's he doing there? Miho asked. Just lying there, the puppet said. What? Why would he do that? Don't tell me he fell asleep. No, it looks like he was hit and collapsed. Miho's face went blank. What did you say? She rushed to the construction site and demanded, How long has he been lying there like that? For 3 hours, the puppet said. For 3 whole hours you saw him and did nothing? Miho grabbed the puppet's collar. Why didn't you call me? You told me to watch him, so I watched, it replied. Angry Miho grabbed a brick and smashed it into the puppet's head. Are you an idiot? She snapped. Then she ran to Gio, leaned close to hear his heartbeat, and heard a faint pulse. He's still alive. I can save him. I have to. I won't let him die. Never. She grabbed her phone and dialed. Send an ambulance now, she ordered.
At the hospital, the doctor said he suffered a severe skull fracture, heavy impact on the temporal and frontal regions. He also has a brain stem injury with multiple cerebral hemorrhages. The monster egg shows abnormal activity in the cerebral cortex and no response in the frontal cortex or limbic system. We can't wake him and he can't breathe on his own. Miho cut in. Slow down. Drop the medical words. Tell me in plain English. Right now, Gio's brain is fused with a monstrous element and is all scrambled. He's in a vegetative state, a coma. Does that mean he'll never wake up? The doctor said, I'm afraid recovery is very unlikely. There's no known treatment for a brain fused like this. The monster egg shows low voltage, no response. We don't have a prototype to compare. It's uncharted. Miho's eyes widened as she looked at Gio, helpless on the bed. A vegetative state? He could stay like this forever? No, I can save him. The monster may have occupied our bodies, but we were both lucid. If I put a new monster in his brain, maybe he'll come back. What if it goes wrong? So what? I can't just sit here. The doctor says there's no prototype, so no treatment. I'll turn the hospital staff into monsters so they can figure out a cure. They'll find a way to revive him. I'll make them find a way. Whoever did this will pay. Right now, I need to focus on him. I'll build a safe world for us so this never happens again. Time passed. Gio's mom called Miho. What is it? Miho answered. Gio's awake, his mother said. Is he? Are you sure? I can't believe it. Miho almost cried. He's awake, but he lost some memories. He can't remember parts of high school, the second year specifically. Miho's face fell. So he doesn't remember anything we did together? How can he be back and not remember me? It's not fair. I waited for him every second. But Miho kept herself steady. It's okay. I won't give up. We'll start over. I'll make him remember me again. I'll make him fall in love with me. One by one, I'll make new memories. Miho said, so that's our story. Sorry about what happened with Yeren. I did that. Try to understand how desperate I was. Besides, I didn't exactly lie. I planned it, but you're the one who actually pushed her and killed her. To be honest, I could have kept quiet. Maybe you wondered why I told you when you asked if we went to the same high school. I wondered what gave it away, so I looked into it and found you had my cell phone. You probably read my notes. I figured I shouldn't lie. That's why I came clean about Yeren. And there's another reason. Just as I can get you out of prison, I can always put you back in and make your life miserable. It's my way of keeping you hostage. And don't think I didn't know you talked to Iryung in the bathroom. Losing a phone is no big deal for me. I'm practically invincible. But you, Gio, you should be more careful. What if I get tired of this and stop loving you? Gio's voice went cold. No, Miho, this isn't love. You don't love me. You're just running from your guilt. Miho said, don't say that. I do love you. If this isn't love, what is? Gio said, you're running from your guilt. You see yourself as the most tragic victim, and you make our love out to be the greatest thing to feel important. You're fooling yourself, Miho. You're trying to find meaning in your life through me. Miho said, back in high school, you hid your feelings and stayed rational. Why are you getting so emotional now? I prepared this world for you. You have everything. You should try to love me even if you don't. You never know when someone like you will come again, or I could change my mind and leave you, just like that. Gio grabbed Miho's hand. Go ahead. You can't hurt me. Why? Because you said you love me, so kill me if you want. His eyes were empty and cold. You turned so many people into monsters, but you're obsessed with me because you couldn't find anyone else like me. You really can't hurt me, can you? Miho said, I don't get it. Why do you hate me after everything I've done? Say you're sorry and accept me, then we can be happy. Why are you stubborn? Gio said, you know why. You ruined my life and my future. I lost my parents and friends because of you. If I must live as one of your puppets slaving for you, I'd rather die right here. Miho said, you're right. I can't find anyone else like us. You and I are special. How could I hurt you? I love you. So I'll kill Iryung and make you happy. You still have hope. That's why you can't accept me. I'll remove whatever hope you have, then I'll make you happy. Happiness is simple. It comes from control. First, I'll lock you in a tiny motel, then put you in a shipping container, then a small boiler room, then an aqueduct no wider than 20 inches. Stay there for a week. You'll probably start to feel content with whatever you have until you love me, until I fix you,
until I become the only reason you exist. I promise I'll keep making you happy. Now I'll fine-tune a few details to complete the world for just the two of us. Think carefully, okay? A sudden beep sounded from the telephone. Miho picked it up. Hello? Silence. Then she froze. What? While she was distracted, Gio tried to leave the room quietly. Miho hung up and turned on the TV. A breaking news alert showed multiple fires at Seoul, Ganwok, and Hanguk University Hospital. Authorities called it an organized attack. It turned out the ones who attacked the hospitals were Ir-young's puppets. Miho's hands trembled their anger. Ir-young, you bastard, she said. She didn't notice Gio behind her, holding a towel ready to attack her.
He shoved it into Miho's face and lifted her, trying to choke her. While struggling to kill her, Gio shouted, "Did you say you prepared a perfect world for us? That you had everything for me? Do you know what I want to do? Finish you off! You control the monsters with your voice, right? So if I take away your voice, it doesn't matter how many monsters are out there. Without your voice, you're nothing. I'm ending this once and for all. Today, it's either you or me." In the struggle, Miho clenched her teeth and forced her leg around Gio's neck, trying to choke him too. With no choice, Gio let go of Miho and shoved her away. Both of them tried to catch their breath, staring at each other. They noticed a broken vase on the floor, its edge sharp. Gio glanced at it and rushed forward to grab it as a weapon, but Miho immediately ran outside the room, gasping for air. Gio followed her out and saw Miho struggling to breathe. Suddenly, Miho shouted, "Now, grab him." At once, multiple puppet monsters appeared. Gio rushed toward Miho, hand raised to strike, but the puppets leapt at him and pinned him down. Miho stepped forward, fixing her dislocated bones as she approached Gio. She smirked. "That was rather cute, I must say. The direct strike on those hospitals was impressive. When did you plan that? Honestly, I didn't expect Ir-young to go that far. Wait a minute. You didn't know Ir-young was going to burn those hospitals? Huh, that bastard." She dialed a number and spoke into the phone. "What's Ir-young's plan?" "What? Is she out of her mind? She's really pushing it, isn't she?" "No, just let her carry on. I'll finish her off anyway." Then she turned back to Gio. "Yes, Gio, I transferred to your high school on purpose, specifically to your class. I made it look like a coincidence, but it wasn't. I sat next to you, lived next to you. When things like that repeat so often, it's no longer coincidence. But that wasn't the end, was it? You and I were the only ones who didn't turn into mindless monsters. Do you really think that's a coincidence? Not even movies or soap operas pull things like this. It's fate." Speaking of movies and dramas, you know how it goes, right? Haven't you heard? Lots of rom-coms start with meet cutes, or in our case, a meet ugly. Our story even follows popular romance tropes. If this isn't fate, then what is? So, while I'm gone, I want you to cool off and think this through, okay? Lock him up in the basement until I get back. Keep an eye on him. Then she turned to one of her puppets. "By the way, we still have it here, don't we? Take it out. I want to play with Ir-young before finishing her off." Meanwhile, an Ir-young puppet monster watched Miho leave the hotel and saw Gio being dragged away by the monsters. As Gio was being pulled, he noticed a car rushing toward them. The puppets tried to shield him, but got struck by it anyway. In the chaos, Ir-young's puppet monster grabbed Gio and pulled him into the car. They sped away, crashing through the other monsters. On Ir-young's side, she recalled her plan, to use Gio as a hostage to escape the country and as ransom to demand the method of creating monsters from Miho. His puppet monster called her. She answered, and through the phone he said, "I have Gio, I'm on my way to you." "Already?" Ir-young gasped. "How? How did you even know where he was?" "Forget it, that's not important. You're sure you have him?" "Yes," the puppet confirmed. Ir-young smiled. "Wow, Kuhyek, you're amazing. This is why I love you. What would I have done without you? Thanks to you, I figured out Miho was a monster. Thanks to you, we've come this far. Do you remember, Kuhyek? We said if we had enough monsters, we could live off the money they made, spend our lives partying and traveling. And if we got tired of traveling, we'd open a little shop for fun, maybe even buy a house with a pool. But now, we can forget that small dream, forget the shop. We can create our own world in other countries. We can do whatever we want, everything we've ever dreamed. I'll take care of you, I promise. I mean, I love you. Hurry, okay?" Then, shockingly, Miho was sitting right beside him. He answered, "Yes, I'll be right over."
After a few minutes, they arrived and Ir-young rushed to the van. She swung the door open and said, "Kuhyek, did you really get Gio?" "Yes," he said, showing her Gio. Ir-young was so happy she hugged him tightly. "Gosh, I love you, you're the best." She then took a photo of the unconscious Gio. But suddenly her phone rang. The caller ID showed Gio.
She froze, confused, and then answered. On the other side, Gio's voice shouted, "Iryong, it was you who set fire to those hospitals, wasn't it? Miho just rushed to the site to deal with it. You have to come get me now. I'm in the hotel parking lot. Restricted area, basement level. These monsters are practically zombies. Miho told them to keep an eye on me, and that's all they're doing. Literally just watching. Even when I untied myself and took their phones, they just stood there, staring at me, no matter what I did." Iryong's eyes widened as she stared at the unconscious Gio lying in front of her. She was shaken, unsure what was happening. Slowly, she removed the tape from Gio's mouth. The Gio in front of her just looked like Gio. Then she smiled in relief, thinking she had been tricked. She hung up the call and laughed. "Oh, Mio, that was almost perfect. It really sounded like Gio. That bastard almost had me fooled." But she didn't realize. Miho had been standing right behind her the whole time, watching as Iryong made a fool of herself. Then Iryong noticed something and saw multiple monsters surrounding her. Iryong began sweating, realizing she had been caught. Miho behind her said, "Is that Gio?" "Miho, what are you doing here?" she stammered. Miho said, I know, you wanted to screw me over, but guess what? Gio messed it all up. Gosh, how did he call you? I broke his phone. I know, I should have given my monsters more specific commands." Iryong, sweating in fear, saw a stone. She picked it up and threatened Miho, "I'll break Gio's skull if you move any closer." But Miho was unbothered. So I guess he snatched a phone from one of the monsters, but how did he make the call? He must have memorized your number or something. Miho stepped closer. Iryong hissed, "Did you hear me? I could kill him right here." Miho shrugged. "Go ahead, kill him." Iryong was shocked. What? Miho lifted her head and frowned. "I said kill him. You can do it, can't you?" Iryong said, "I can and I will, but I thought he meant everything to you. Are you sure you want me to kill the love of your life?" Miho snapped, "Stop talking and do it already. Don't tell me you're scared. I'll make it easy for you." Without hesitation, Miho pointed at Gio and said, "Throw a stone at him until he bleeds to death." Iryong froze at Miho's command. Then they started throwing stones. Iryong's eyes widened in shock. When she was about to call for help from Guyak, her monster, he was already ready to throw a stone at Gio and hit his head. All along, Guyak had been Miho's monster watching Iryong. Then Miho said, "Stop." Everyone froze. She approached Gio, grabbed his head, and said, "So, what do you think? Does he look dead enough for you?" Iryong looked around and saw a group of monsters walking toward her wearing the same clothes. There was another Gio among the monsters. Miho said, "See, they look exactly like Gio, huh? Do you have any idea what kind of struggle I went through to create those things? Back in high school, I had to get Gio out of prison, so I grabbed a bunch of boys who looked like him and gave them a complete facelift. They've been pretty useful since then. I even used them to come up with an alibi with Sajin. What a shame. I could have used them on you too, but I didn't quite get around to it. Anyway, is this all you've got? I have to say I'm rather disappointed. I know you were going to kidnap Gio, but it didn't work, did it? So what's next, huh?" Without hesitation, Iryong rushed toward the room and locked it. In her mind, she thought, I knew something was wrong, so Miho knows I've been talking to Gio. Gio, you useless bastard. What do I do? This can't be the end. I've come this far and everything goes up in smoke. No way, I can't let that happen. I won't. I've been through hell and back to get here. Okay, deep breath, I've got this. I've come this far, what do I do? Think. Come on, let's not panic. There has to be a way. It has to. Miho stepped forward and ordered, "Catch that blonde." They started rushing toward Iryong, but then suddenly they froze. Miho wondered why they had stopped. Then Iryong laughed, raising her hand. Turns out she played a recorded audio of Miho's voice saying, "Stop, don't do anything." Miho ordered her monsters again to catch Iryong, but they froze once more when Iryong played the audio. They kept doing that while the monsters got closer, and Iryong clung on, biting her lips until it bled. Miho said, "What is this? You're going to fight me with your hand?" Iryong said, "Yes, you played me all along, but don't forget, I've crushed more skulls than I can count. Besides, this isn't the only recording I have of you." Miho said, "You're lying. Besides, how would you even cue up the right command?" Iryong replied that Miho was right. Maybe she couldn't kill her, but that didn't mean she couldn't leave her with permanent damage. Then Iryong apologized and asked to negotiate and make a deal. Miho dialed a number on her phone. Ironically, it was Iryong's number, and said, "Catch her." The monsters rushed at Iryong and apprehended her.
Iryong begged, apologizing and promising she wouldn't mess with Miho again, begging for another chance. Miho said, Iryong, I'll give you a chance because I had fun playing with you. Why would I kill you, huh? But you said Gio means everything to me, right? Absolutely, Gio. My entire existence revolves around him. Does that make me miserable? No. Because of him, my heart swells with joy. You know why? Because he's a true human in his ideal form, just like me. So yes, he is my everything. And you tried to kidnap him and hold him hostage. That really pisses me off. Iryong sobbed, crying, saying she was sorry, promising she would never do it again, that she would keep entertaining Miho. Then she started licking Miho's hand, sucked a mosquito off it, and chewed it and swallowed it. She said the fly was rather chewy and that she could do a live fly eat cast. See, I can do anything you ask. Please ask me anything and I'll do it. Don't kill me, please. Come on, you said you'd give me another chance. Miho said, I won't kill you. Overjoyed, Iryong said, thank you so much. I'll bust my gut to keep you entertained every day. Miho continued, I won't kill you, as long as you're the real deal, just like Gio and me. Iryong yelled and begged, then Miho turned her into a monster.
While the parasites were settling into Iryong's brain, her past flashed before her. It was Miho and her friend, talking about what to do with the leftover food, whether they should throw it away, but the other girl said they should toss it later because they were too full to stand up. Then Iryong appeared, black hair flowing, and said she could throw the leftover food away since she was on her way to the next class. Iryong left, and the girl said she was such a sweetheart that all she ever did was study. They had never seen her leave the campus, saying she practically lived there. No wonder she always got the scholarships. Outside, Iryong looked around. Seeing no one, she opened the leftover food and began eating. She thought to herself, thank goodness, I don't have to worry about lunch now. I'm too broke to buy anything today. All I have for tomorrow is a cup of noodles. Then Iryong heard someone coming. She quickly shoved all the food into her mouth. A guy greeted her, and she greeted him back. They exchanged small talk. The guy said, I haven't seen you in a while. Do you want to grab lunch together? But Iryong declined, saying she had to run to class. Maybe next time. Bye. Okay, bye, the guy replied, while his friend teased him, saying he had already been rejected 5 times. Outside the school, in Iryong's mind, she groaned, gosh, that greasy chicken is making me even hungrier. I'd kill for some pepperoni and cheese pizza. She glanced at her phone and realized she only had $70. Oh, forget it. Pizza? I can hardly afford the air I breathe. I'd better hit these places and pick up some food for tonight. Iryong went to a convenience store but found nothing, no leftovers. She complained to herself, I should have come earlier. If one of these stores had hired me, I wouldn't have to run around like this for throwaway food. I don't have enough money until payday, and tomorrow there won't be any leftovers at the stores. Then Iryong noticed a raffle prize. She tried her luck with her last bit of money, hoping for the second prize, a box of cup noodles. If she got that, she wouldn't have to worry about food for a whole month. It turned out to be her lucky day. She won the first prize, but sadly it wasn't what she needed. She told herself, think positive. It's all about attitude. Yes, I can totally sell this. It has to be worth more than the raffle ticket I bought. Then the guy appeared again. What are you doing here? Oh wow, you also joined the raffle, and won. Iryong said, lucky, huh? Maybe I should buy a lottery ticket or something. The guy asked, are you waiting for your next class? Maybe we can go to a cafe and hang out. Suddenly, Iryong's stomach growled. Silence. Then it growled again. She was embarrassed, but the guy quickly said he had a dinner event for the school society and wanted Iryong to come. He had already paid for 2 people, but his friend backed out last minute. Besides, they were accepting new members. In Iryong's mind, gosh, can he stop hitting on me already? Oh well, beggars can't choosers. I seriously have nothing to eat this week. So Iryong asked, you don't mind? Of course not, the guy said. It's basically a social gathering. We always welcome new people. Miho is there too, and the other girls would love to meet you. That evening, they started drinking, saying it was a welcome party for their new club member. The guy silently admired Iryong while she downed a shot of alcohol in one go, pretending it was too strong, but deep inside she thought, gosh, that's good. Then she started eating, finally filling her empty stomach. Iryong just listened to their stories and enjoyed herself, hearing about dating rumors and all the campus gossip. As they exchanged light banter and chatter, she almost felt like she was one of them, like a normal college student.
On the way home, the guy asked if she had fun. Lee happily said, "Yes, I had fun." Then he asked again if she wanted to officially join their society club. Lee said, "I'd love to, but I'm too broke to join any student societies. It's a long story." She began sharing her childhood. "When I was little, my dad used to gamble. Mom told me to wait while she went to find him. At the slot machines, she rushed towards him, grabbed his hair, and scolded him. But Dad said he was about to hit the jackpot, that if you could just play one more round, they could pay off all their debts. Mom said, 'Oh yeah, so if I press this button, all our debts will go away?' She slammed the button, and suddenly they hit the mega jackpot. Both were shocked. But just like that, Mom also got hooked on gambling. They did everything. Now they're into Bitcoin. They say it's an investment, not gambling. My parents even stole my college tuition savings. They used my name to take out loans. I tried to apply for debt relief, but just like them, I'm listed as a gambler. So basically, I'm drowning in debt, even though I never borrowed a cent." Lee suddenly got embarrassed and laughed it off. "Hey, I was just kidding, you know. Anyway, I can't join because I've got too much studying to do." The guy said, "Lee, I don't like meddling, and I hate hurting your pride even more. But is there anything I can do? I'd love to help." Lee was touched. Someone actually cared. But she quickly brushed it off. "Gosh, I said I was kidding. I guess it wasn't that fun, huh? Anyway, I had a great time today. Thank you so much for the dinner. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?" They said goodbye to each other. But in Lee mind, she thought, I needed his favor. I needed his sympathy. I was desperate. But I had no means of repaying his kindness. That privilege belonged only to the haves, and I wasn't one of them. In this cruel reality, things like being true to my feelings or saving face were luxuries I couldn't afford. Sadly, I had to take advantage of his goodwill, because that's all I had left. Turns out, Lee stole a phone.
The next morning, the guy greeted Iryong again and asked if she wanted to have lunch together. The other guy in the back muttered to himself, "This guy never gives up, does he? Gosh, I feel so bad for him." He was surprised when he heard Iryong say, "Are you buying?" "Of course," the guy replied. Iryong laughed and said she was kidding, then agreed to go with him. The other guy said, "Wow, whoever said where there's a will, there's a way, sure knew what they were talking about." The guy and Iryong kept hanging out again and again until time passed and feelings grew between them. Iryong checked her balance, 10,800 won, about 8 USD. Even though she didn't have enough, she bought coffee for the guy anyway. He was surprised and touched. He started to blush. Iryong was happy, even though it was her last money. Time passed. Iryong went to the classroom to spend the night, but it was temporarily closed for boiler repairs. Oh no, she thought, where am I supposed to sleep? Should I sleep in the bathroom like before? But that was summer. In this weather, I'll freeze. Should I stay up all night somewhere? A convenience store? An unmanned cafe? No, last time the owner kicked me out at 2 in the morning. Maybe if I hide by the trees, the owner won't notice, but what am I supposed to do then? With no choice, she grabbed her phone and asked the guy if it was okay for her to sleep in the club meeting room for the night. After a couple of minutes, the guy told the other members he was using the room so no one would come in. He warned her the building locks at 10 and won't open until 6. If she tries to leave, it will trigger the security alarm and the guard might kick her out. Then he gave her his ID and said, "The door locks automatically when you close it. Take this ID with you if you need to use the bathroom or anything." Iryong thanked him. "You're a lifesaver." A moment of silence, then he suddenly spoke. "So, Iryong, I wanted to tell you something." Iryong interrupted. "I want to thank you. You're always so considerate. You try so hard not to embarrass me. You buy me lunches, even when I want to buy you one. You know what? I don't know when it started, but I began enjoying your company. You do so much for me, and I want to return your favor and more. I really want to, but I don't have the means. I know you're being kind, and no, I feel bad that I can't do anything for you. At first, I planned to take advantage of your kindness, but I'm saying this now because you're such a good person, and because I like you. Maybe deep down you expect me to return the favor, maybe you don't, I don't know. But things usually don't end well when one person keeps giving and the other can't reciprocate. I don't want that for us." The guy replied, "Iryong, I like you. You've probably noticed by now. I'm not offering pity. I genuinely admire you. I want to stay by your side and learn from you. I admire how you don't give up despite everything. If you lose your way, I want to help you turn things around. By the way, I wasn't going to confess my feelings. I wanted to say, stop stealing from the kids.
If you need help, just ask me. I'll help you. I want to. Aryong acted dumbfounded. Wait a minute, what did I steal? I don't know what you're talking about. He said, when we were hanging out with the others, I saw you near their wallets while pretending to take off your coat. No one's saying it outright, but people are suspicious. You're not a kleptomaniac. I know you have reasons, but this crosses the line, Aryong. I like you. Let me help. That's why I want you to stop doing that altogether. Aryong began sweating. Embarrassed and frozen, tears welling, she realized he had discovered the secret she never wanted him to find out. Not from the one she liked. She ran, telling herself, I can't go out with him. I know how this kind of relationship turns out when you're always on the receiving end. I really want to repay him, but I've got nothing. Even if we did date and things didn't end well, I don't want him to see this side of me. I want him to believe I can get through this someday. I might never meet anyone like him again. I don't want to let him go. I want to hold his hand. I want to say yes, but I can't. I hate my life. So Aryong decided to go back to the guy. While he waited, he heard the door open. He thought it was Aryong, but it wasn't. Oh, it's you, Miho. Didn't you see the group chat? I'm using this room today. Miho smiled. Oh, I did. You're sleeping over here tonight, right? Then she locked the door and added, that's why I'm here.
Meanwhile, Lee-young stood up to go back to the guy, thinking she wanted to end it well somehow. For her, that was the least she could do. But when she opened the door, she was shocked by something horrifying. The guy was lying on the floor, and behind him was a monster. Without thinking, Lee-young attacked the monster with her bag, knocking it away. Then she grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed it into the monster's face. While it couldn't see well, it reached out and attacked, but Lee-young shoved a bottle into its mouth and slammed it with the extinguisher. The monster fell unconscious. Lee-young rushed to the guy asking if he was okay, what had happened, but he started calling her mom. She slapped him, told him to wake up. Then she asked if he could stand because they needed to leave immediately. While running, Lee-young thought, that monster was Miho, right? What the hell is she? A monster or some kind of bizarre creature like in the movies? Did she see my face or not? I need to calm down. She asked the guy if he was okay and said they needed to go to the police. He said yes, but when she checked his head, she saw something she couldn't comprehend. Her eyes widened in terror, but the guy just called her mom again. Lee-young backed away in fear. What are you? She asked. The guy began introducing himself. I'm Guyuk Sim, 22 years old, male, 6 feet tall, 176 pounds. It turns out this guy was Lee-young's puppet monster in the present. Terrified, Lee-young shouted, "Don't come near me!" He stopped walking but kept talking about himself. That's not what I asked. Why are you giving me your resume? You asked me, Mom, Guyuk replied. In her mind, Lee-young thought, why is he calling me Mom? Is it because of that disgusting thing in his head? Is Miho going to do that to me too? I need to get out of here. I'll quit school and... Wait, if I quit school, where will I live? I was staying here because I couldn't afford rent. Where will I sleep tonight? What about food? Guyuk has been buying all my lunches. I've completely lost it, haven't I? Guyuk might have become a monster and I'm worried about what to eat? Let's be honest. Yes, I'm worried about him, but even now, I'm more worried about my debts and where I'll sleep next. That's scarier than the monster. My life is so messed up. First my parents, their debts, and now a monster? What am I gonna do? Then Lee-young remembered how Guyuk kept calling her mom and followed everything she said. She stopped running, turned back to him, nervously said, "Sit down." Guyuk obeyed. "Get up," she said. He got up. "Jump, dance." He followed. Finally, she told him, "Now send me all your money." And he did, about $4,040. Lee-young was shocked. She realized something. I thought I really loved him, but it turns out getting out of my miserable life was more important. Maybe I didn't love him at all. Maybe I only loved the ray of hope he gave me, that I could finally escape this reality. Days later, Miho was on a call. On the other end, someone said, "We found her. Her name is Lee-young." Miho replied, "Fine. Don't do anything. Act normal." Then she sighed, looking up at the sky. Suddenly, Lee-young appeared and asked, "A headache? What's wrong?" "So, Miho, I was wondering, can we have lunch?" Miho widened her eyes surprised. Why didn't Lee-young run away? Why wasn't she afraid of me? Then Miho smiled and answered happily, "Let's go. Why not?" In Lee-young's unconscious mind, as the parasite was trying to settle in, she thought, yes, this is how it all started. Thanks to Guyuk's sacrifice, I've come this far. And this is how it all ends? Over my dead body. I can't go down without a fight. Miho said she'd let me live if I became like her, right? Fine,
bring it on. I'll become a monster exactly like you. No matter what happens, no matter how pitiful it is, I'll hold out. I'll be just like you. I'll get my payback, big time. Then Iryong opened her eyes, and she said, Mom. Miho looked disappointed. She remembered when she turned Guyuk into her monster. She asked Guyuk, what's Iryong up to? And Guyuk answered, steal monster, get rich. Miho laughed loud. Woo, what a riot. Then she told Iryong she'd forgive her if she were like her, but it was a shame, because in the end, only Gio and Miho were the special ones. Earlier, in the parking lot, Gio was trapped, surrounded by monsters watching him closely. He remembered Miho's orders, lock him in the basement until she came back and keep watch. Gio started rubbing his taped hands against the corner of the wall. After some struggle, the tape finally snapped and his hands were free. The monsters didn't move. Gio tore the tape from his mouth and shouted, "You idiots! Miho told you to keep an eye on me and that's all you do?" He realized something. Since Miho only told them to lock him up, they wouldn't act unless he tried to escape. If they only stood there and watched, his escape would be simple: break their arms and legs so they couldn't block him. He grabbed a metal bar and swung at them, but to his surprise, the monsters quickly held him down. Gio's eyes went wide. Wait, why are they fighting back? He thought. Did Miho also tell them to defend themselves? Are there more rules I don't know about? How can I escape? I can't do this alone. I need Iryong, but how do I reach her? Then Gio noticed a cell phone in a monster's pocket. He quickly grabbed it and called Iryong, but when she answered, she didn't believe him. Iryong thought it was a trick and hung up. Gio felt cornered. Every time he tried to escape or fight, the monsters stopped him. There has to be a weak point in Miho's commands, he thought. I need to think like her. How does she control them? He remembered the day Yaren's mom tried to kill him. Back then, when he shouted, "Don't kill me," the monsters attacked her immediately. With that memory, Gio stood up, held a monster's hand, and begged in a shaky voice, Don't kill me, please." Suddenly, another monster attacked the one in front of him. Gio watched shocked as the monsters fought each other. He kept repeating the words, don't kill me," again and again. From outside, the awful sound of bones breaking could be heard. That night, under the lights of the street, Gio finally escaped. He tried calling Iryong again, wondering if she had run away, but deep down, he knew she couldn't. Miho had already trapped her. As Gio walked, he began to think, I need to take away Miho's voice. If she can't give orders, the monsters will stop. That means I need to fight her servants, as many as I can. I don't know how many there are, but maybe if people see the truth, that these murders are done by people controlled by monsters, then there will be a way. Gio raised his voice again and shouted, "Don't kill me." People nearby turned to look. The street and the bar above began to shake as monsters gathered to protect him. Then, in the crowd, one person acted normal, human, not a monster. Gio's heart raced. He stammered, Don't kill me." But then he saw it. Every single person staring at him was already a monster. His body went weak and he fell to his knees in shock. Then came the voice, calm and sharp. "I told you, Gio, it's all over." It was Miho. She smiled as she held up a microphone, speaking to everyone around. "Ignore us. Ignore the wounded. Act normal," Miho commanded. Then she explained why she could confess to being a monster so easily, because everything is already done and over. After she got hit by a car and Gio discovered she was a monster, but by then it was too late. Monster farming at the hospital was the perfect system. Most kids don't get annual physicals until they're older, so she created them one by one. That's why she passed the new law. Then she showed Gio the law that now mandates health checkups for middle school students. Thanks to that law, most people are already monsters, not only in the Seoul metropolitan area, but in the provinces too. Miho looked at Gio and asked if he had ever thought about what he would do if he couldn't kill her. Did he ever think she might lock him away, even though she loved him? Did he ever think about just giving up? She explained it simply. Living free was hard. You had to find work, pay bills, cook, clean, and worry about getting sick with no one to help you. Freedom was heavy. It was a burden. Then Miho smiled. She said she could take that burden away. She could be her safe place, her comfort. If he lived under her control, he wouldn't have to worry about anything. He could just enjoy her love inside her sanctuary. It was time to be happy.
After saying that, Miho gave her command to the monster.
Miho said lock Gio in the aqueduct until I decide to let him out. Then a few days passed. After keeping Gio locked, Miho finally decided to free Gio. His hands were tied, still hanging from the ropes that had kept him imprisoned. Upon releasing him, the look in his eyes was empty, as if no life remained. One beautiful morning in the city, Miho stood on top of a building as if preparing something. She looked behind her and saw Gio approaching, guided by the monsters because he could barely walk. Miho said to Gio that it must have been so frightening and traumatizing for him, and she asked how he felt, whether he had suffered enough, deprived of everything he once took for granted. But Gio didn't respond at all. A monster raised its hand holding a phone, and Miho simply nodded. Miho helped Gio to stand, saying they should take a look below. When they reached the edge of the building and looked down, they saw a massive number of monsters gathering, forming a formation for a countdown. Some beat drums, others cheered. Besides them, others played music. When the countdown finally hit 0, a sign said, "Look up." Miho and Gio looked up at the same time. People fell from the sky, skydivers, and as they fell, they formed a symbol that signified Miho's love for Gio. The music kept playing while a jet streaked across the sky, trailing colorful smoke. Then Miho asked Gio if he liked it, that she had made it just for him, that she had finally made a world for the two of them. She asked how he felt about it, saying he could be anything, do anything. She asked if he wanted to be president. She could make him the youngest president in the country. Or if he wanted to watch a battle royale deathmatch, she could make that happen. As long as he stayed in the country, everything would be his. Anything he wanted would be his. Of course, she said giving him everything up front would be great, but there was no fun in it. So Miho grabbed a book and showed it to Gio. Miho said she had made a book with a sticker reward system that she created while Gio had been trapped and thinking in the aqueduct. Miho felt it was important to establish a reward system for him. From that point on, he wouldn't be able to communicate with anyone else or leave the designated area without Miho's permission. If he tried to leave, the guards and converted monsters would watch him 24/7 and drag Gio back to Miho. But if they had fun together and ended up having a good day, Miho would give Gio a reward sticker. If Gio kept collecting them, Miho would expand his designated area and even let him speak to the servant monsters, ones that had no abilities other than serving his basic needs. Gio could have fun like they did at the hotel, and Miho had many other rewards in store that sounded exciting. Those stickers would make Gio feel rewarded and make them both happy. But it wouldn't be fair if they were only rewards, which is why Miho also made punishment stickers. If Gio ran away, broke their promises or rules, hurt himself, attacked her, or did anything like that, Gio would get a punishment sticker. If he collected a punishment sticker, his designated area would get smaller and smaller, and the monsters who served him would ignore him completely. Even if he screamed, they wouldn't react. More punishment stickers meant more suffering, to the point that he might wish to be back in the aqueduct. So Miho said he needed to be nice, do what she said, and collect the good stickers. Then they'd be fine. Then Gio began to speak, and said, "While I was locked away, a lot of thoughts had run through my mind. I thought I wouldn't have suffered like this if I simply gone along with your plan. I thought you might forgive me if I apologized. I hated myself for my foolish actions and regretted what I had done, that you had turned everyone into monsters and built a system to sustain your plan. For me, there was no way to attack you directly. That would never work. I wouldn't repeat the same mistakes. I knew the monsters around you meant nothing to you. I was the only one you considered equal. The world you made was a lonely place, not just for me, but for you too. You had created a world where everyone else was a monster, and without me, none of the things you made would matter." Miho said, "Gio, you're not being serious, right?" But Gio said, "Inside that pipe, I had been thinking long and hard about the best way to get even with you. I had thought about how to get back at you, how to possibly retaliate for all the humiliation and pain you had inflicted on me, and now I had an answer." Then Gio said to Miho, "Good luck. You can live here by yourself, you sick parasite monster." Gio started running towards the edge of the building. Miho and the other monsters tried to catch him and stop him, but when he reached the edge, he immediately jumped. When he looked back, the monsters jumped too, trying to protect him from the fall. As they fell, the monsters below rushed together and formed a massive hand to catch him and reduce the impact. The monsters finally caught him, but the impact was so hard that it killed multiple monsters in the process. After that, Miho rushed down. Two monsters held Gio while he was unconscious. Looking at Gio, Miho asked herself what she had done wrong and whether Gio really hated her so much that he would kill himself. Miho wondered what she had done so wrong. She had given him everything he wanted. There was literally nothing she wouldn't give him. For Miho, maybe she hadn't given him enough time to accept reality. She had thrown everything at him too suddenly. He was too fragile, too good to accept the cruel truth. Miho thought she should have eased him in. But Miho told herself it was okay. They could start over. She wouldn't rush him again. If Gio didn't remember anything, it didn't matter. They could start from zero. For her, nothing changed. They were meant for each other. They would build everything up again from the ground zero. Miho still remembers how Gio fell for her after he lost all his memories before. So for Miho, they could do it all over again. This time, she wouldn't rush. She would do it slowly so he wouldn't resist. Miho tried to turn Gio into a monster again to erase his memory and start from the beginning, but suddenly Gio's eyes flew open. Gio bit the parasite coming from her mouth and pulled it in. The parasite resisted, but a monster intervened and pushed them apart, pinning Gio down while he cursed at the parasite. Gio's eyes widened when he saw something unexpected. The monsters kicked the parasite that had come off of Miho's body. Then Gio realized that those monsters only followed Miho's command because Miho was their mom, the first face they saw, the first voice they heard when they became monsters. That meant Miho was their master, not that squirming creature that didn't look or sound like her. The parasite was nothing but an ugly blob whose power meant nothing to those monsters. Then Gio said to the monsters, "My girlfriend Miho needed help. Please help her because the disgusting-looking creature was attacking Miho, and you should save my girlfriend from that monster." The monster immediately rushed towards the parasite and began stepping on it over and over again while Gio watched, eyes wide open. Gio stood up and approached it. He looked down and said, "You bastard monster, I'm going to kill you." He stepped on it, cursing at it until he was satisfied. He stopped, catching his breath while the parasite lay on the ground, bloodied and not moving anymore. Days passed and it's now winter. Gio is casually lying in bed, thinking whoever said revenge isn't the answer knew what they were talking about. And whoever said forgive and forget knew what they were talking about, too. At this time, Gio looks a little older and he thought everything would change once he got rid of Miho, but he was wrong. Everyone acts normal, but as soon as he walks in, people stop talking and look at him, because they're all monsters. Even though he talks to them, they don't respond. No one flinches or blinks an eye, even when he stands before them naked. He tried escaping to another country, but he couldn't. The monsters blocked him the moment he tried to get away from the designated area by Miho. He even tried to end his miserable life, but it got him nowhere. After his failure, his bodyguard increased. They watch him 24/7, stop him from harming himself, and don't let him touch sharp objects, so he's only allowed to use plastic utensils. Even without Miho, her monster factory runs as usual. The squirmy creatures mate and multiply inside rotten stumps, and the zombie monsters plant them inside human heads. Just like that, the newborns become monsters and they keep watching him. He'll probably rot in that hellhole hotel. Miho's grip still looms large even after her death. Gio wonders if things will change when his face looks different as he ages. But those monsters take a picture of him every night. He feels so sick of his life that he regrets what he's done, regrets not just going along with Miho's plan. Now that he's all alone, he feels sorry. He finally understands Miho. She was alone and lonely. He can now see her frustration and anger that she believed she was the only sane one in that world, because she felt so lonely. That's why she locked him up, so he would stay with her forever. But Gio's life is still a mess. He doesn't care how lonely she was. He can't forgive her. Yes, she was lonely, but so what? For Gio, it doesn't justify her action of locking him up. He shouts, "Damn you, Miho. I hate you. I'll never forgive you." Then he stops when he hears an unexpected scream. He looks back and sees a girl. He greets her, but she doesn't respond. He rushes towards her and says, "Excuse me, miss." The girl slams the door and accuses him of being a pervert. Gio thinks he saw her, so why isn't she acting like a monster? How is she still human? Maybe she came from another country, or maybe she's like him and Miho. He doesn't care. She could understand him. She could become his friend, the one and only friend. Then he remembers how Miho once acted, desperate for someone she could call a friend. Gio realizes Miho wasn't trying to trap him, she just didn't want to lose him, just like he doesn't want to lose this girl. Suddenly, Gio pukes out of nowhere, and when he looks at it, his eyes widen. He sees multiple parasites. He remembers puking at the pool before, Miho looking at his vomit saying he wasn't ready yet because the parasite wasn't fully formed. Gio starts smiling. Now he understands Miho. She must have felt so alone, just needing someone to hold on to the cruel reality. And now that he's where she was before, it all makes sense. After so much time with her, Miho was already a part of him. Gio says, "Now I know what I should do," smiling like a maniac who has lost his mind.